The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings NFL 2021. First round of the playoffs, the divisional round. We're here for the next 4 weeks, or 5 weeks, I guess, all the way throughout the Super Bowl. If you are missing out on me, Geoff, and Tim Cust.
Not my name.
That's the earliest I've ever done the Tim Andercust, by the way. We are back tomorrow on Mayo Media Network, breaking down all of the golf majors for the entire season. So remember to subscribe to Mayo Media Network. I'm doing a giveaway for the giant one and done right now. If you retweet the shows when you see it come around and you smash the like button for this episode and help us time code it, or give me your favorite spread for the divisional round in the comment section, you will be in the draw as long as you subscribe to Mayo Media Network. If you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts for the audio version of this show, and in the review, just say something like, "Hey, I really enjoyed this show." Leave your Twitter handle or your email address so I know it's you. And you're also in the draw. You do both. You're in the draw twice, and winners are drawn on Wednesday. So get to it. Geoff Fienberg is in studio with me. We did a show. People, I think there's a big crossover audience, obviously, between the golf show and this show, because you and I are both on it. If people don't know, me and Geoff do a show every single Monday for 40 straight weeks throughout the course of the year, beginning this week that we did on Monday for golf betting. It's basically this show. Tim appears a lot of the time anyway, and we try to hand out golf winners. So if you miss Geoff and I after football, so we're just tuning in Monday. I mean, who cares if you? It doesn't matter if you like golf or not. Yeah. Is the way that I would really throw it out there. Yeah. Like a lot of people watch this show that don't like football; they just enjoy the show.
Yeah, no, there is a crossover, but there are people that are like staunchly like in and out of one show, and I think a lot of the fans kind of realize how little football might actually get discussed at times on this show.
I feel like all those triggered people have probably given up on the show at this point. I mean, there's only 6 games. I'm hoping we can keep it to under 6 hours today.
Yep, me too. So is my wife.
That would be nice. So yeah, golf major show, 2 golf shows already out. The one and done contest at fantasygolfchampionship.com. No listeners league for football this week. There is one for golf, so you can find that in the description of the golf shows. Plus, I want to give a special shout out if you are looking for some wine to be shipped to your house, because who the fuck wants to leave their house? You go to WagnerVineyards.com, owned and operated by a friend of the show, a viewer of the show. I don't know if it's owned, it's operated at least. WagnerVineyards.com gets the Riesling, best white wine in the state of New York. Have it shipped to your state, all right? WagnerVineyards.com. Highly recommend you go check it out and support the viewers of the Pat Mayo Experience. Keep everything in the community. Tim, I want to congratulate you. By going 9-7 last week, you beat the coin by a game in the season-long pick'em.
I will accept your praise and say that maybe it's time for the coin to start watching the games.
So should you.
Yeah, you finished 116 and 138 against the spread. The coin was 115 and 139. Geoff put a scare into me by going 12-4 for the week. You finished at 131 and 128. Got yourself back out of the hole over the past 3 weeks. Finished 8 games above 500. Pat Mayo, the champion, as always, except for that year the coin won. 139 and 115 against the spread. If you had bet every game and used me, you still would have lost money because you would have paid the rake. I didn't finish.
Superlock, though. I was on a bit of a heater with the Superlock down the stretch. I think I hit 6 of 8 or something down the stretch.
Yeah, you started off very poorly. You still lost the Superlock contest. Geoff won that 11-6 with his Superlock for the year. I was 7-9 because I had that game cancellation. Tim, that bested you by half a game. You were 7-10.
Fair enough.
But
like I said, I started off real slow and then did heat up on that as the season progressed.
And for your free money money line parlay last week, both of the first games lost, so you lost again. 3-16 for the year, 9-83 lifetime. Congratulations.
But I promise the people when we get back to 2021 season, I'll be putting winners out there.
I don't know about that.
I'll have to admit, we're going into the wild card round. I have a notorious history of being terrible in this round.
What is really the difference between that and week 4?
Somebody has been chronicling it.
There's only
one of our followers has been chronicling it, and it's some unbelievably terrible record over the last several years. Shout out to that fellow. I mean, it's like 2-14 or something outrageous over the. I have a really, really bad handle on wild card round. So just fair warning to everybody listening. If you're, for whatever reason, didn't listen all year, but like, oh, it's the NFL playoffs. I like the playoffs. I'm going to jump in. I see this video's got the SEO of playoffs, so I'm in. And I start to watch it. I am really bad at picking the wild card round. So if you wanted to play a 6-game teaser against whatever I'm picking or money line against, you might actually cash a really, really big check. So fair warning.
Is there 1 week? Okay, he says he's bad in wild card weekend. I'd argue outside of Thanksgiving, which might just be perception based.
Well,
he's probably bad every week.
He's won 2 teasers / parlays on Thanksgiving in the 8 years we've done this show, and that's like a big victory for him.
Thanksgiving is the only week where he would say, like, I do something right, I would argue.
Paul.
My concern here would be that by saying that he's very bad at the wild card
Cursing
round, he
himself.
just reverse cursed it, and TC's gonna have a big wild card weekend here.
It's a whole new format, Tim. Extra games, as I joked with you on the golf show, Pat. My wife is very hyper aware of the NFL schedule and how it works kind of in the playoffs, and we do get some Saturday ball, but it hasn't hit her that there are 3 games, and this thing starts early and goes late, all 3 of them.
I can't wait, like on Sunday night, for it to like lead into. I assume the Champions Tournament is on NBC. Maybe it's just on Golf Channel.
I believe it's just Golf Channel.
It'll be at the same time.
Same time, and like when it's over, I can turn over and watch Tony Finau win. Like I'm excited for that.
Tony Finau is your pick this week? Poor Tony.
I didn't bet Finau, but hey, good for Finau.
There is one big announcement, though. If people didn't tune into the Cust Corners we released over the past 2 weeks, you should go do that. It's up on Mayo Media Network. But if you hit the description of this video right now or the podcast, guess what you will find, Geoff Fienberg?
I don't know.
The ballot for voting on the 2020 Custy Awards. It's happening.
I almost fell off the toilet today.
Did you read some of them?
Yeah. Like it was... It's literally amazing that one man could say all these things.
That's fair. I mean,
I don't think there's that many candidates for things.
Well, let me just go through this one. This was my favorite category, just to give you a teaser on how hard some of these selections are. Most Anderkurst non-sports. You have to pick one of these to vote for in the Custy Awards. Tim putting C100 out of business. The radio station got all of his favorite.
I didn't do that.
Got all of his favorite hosts fired, and then
they were already
station.
Before I brought it up.
Shut up. Then the station actually shut down and switched its format. Killing Sean Connery. Well, at a spa when Tim was tub adjacent and getting a tug, walking by a chimney, one of the yurts caught on fire, and then the spa actually closed down the next week after Tim was there. Tim called the new Bond movie a top 5 Bond movie and was excited for its release. It still hasn't come out yet. Coca-Cola laid off 17% of its workforce this year. This is a sneaky one. Larry Tesler, who invented the shortcut for keyboards. After Tim proclaimed he had just discovered what Control X meant, 2 days later, the guy died. Rick Moranis. Tim called Rick Moranis a top-tier influencer. Later that week, Moranis was assaulted on the street of New York. And movie theaters. Tim proclaimed that he would save the movies. Regal Cinemas, one of the largest movie theater chains in North America, announced that they will close in October after Tim gave his advice on how to save movies. So that's just one category. I voted, but I could be swayed on that either way. You got no defense.
I'm not responsible for any of those things.
You killed 2 people in 1 year. You got poor Rick Moranis sent to the hospital. Let's own up to it.
No, not guilty. I've done none. These are all just happenstances and coincidences. I bet you there won't even be that many votes. People will look at that and go, I don't even think there's much here.
They'll click on it, then they'll abstain from voting, is what you're saying?
That's what I would do. I would not. I would cast an empty ballot like that guy for the Hall of Fame if I could.
What a piece of shit that guy is.
Can you imagine waiting your whole life to become a Hall of Fame voter and then casting an empty ballot?
No, I can't imagine that.
I can understand just not voting if you had a problem with it. I get that, and I would support that, but don't cast an empty ballot.
It's pretty stupid. It was a pure, hey, look at me move.
100% it was a hey, look at me move.
All right, let's jump into the games. Indy and Buffalo is the first game we're going to see on Saturday. -6.5 for the Bills. 51.5 is the over-under. As Tim said to me, all Bills fans are triggered that this game is the early game at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, which is not the case. But the first thing I did when the lines got released on Sunday night, Geoff, was bet the Buffalo Bills -6.5. This feels too low.
I was pretty surprised myself, despite the market size, to see the Bills were the curtain jerker. The
Why,
Bills,
though? These are the two smallest markets in the playoffs.
whatever. Okay, we're starting the playoffs off. It's the Rockers versus the Heavenly Bodies. I mean, like, we're opening the curtain here. I don't mind this game. I'm excited for this game. I love the Mafia. This could be Dad's last ever pass, last ever interception, last ever game. You know, maybe he takes that high school job. There's a lot of rumors that big money's being thrown talked about him to do the booth, which would melt my heart, so he can be in all your living rooms every week for the foreseeable future. I hope the best for the Mafia, but I'm going to go down swinging with Pops. I'm not necessarily ready to bet this real money, real life.
I bet this real money. Bills -6.5.
The weather's going to be freezing. They're down a tackle. Their defense doesn't look as sharp as it was. They got a coordinator, Eberflus, who's got like 7 interviews lined up.
Well, Dable has a bunch of interviews lined up.
Yeah, I guess. Listen, I don't want the Bills to look bad and then my owner to be like, oh, no, told you, Jason Garrett. We'll get there later, though. I'm just going to throw Dad. As Dad throws his last punch, I might lose money on Philip for the last time ever, and how could I miss that opportunity? But I love the Mafia, and I would break for them if they went home here, because I don't know. Tim might be on Reddit if they go home, but I'm not totally expecting that. You'd run to Reddit. Don't lie.
If they get down by 3 points, Tim's going to he's going to open up the Reddit app. Be like, Bills fans are so stupid. Look at them freaking out. And then Tim is the guy taking victory laps after 2 minutes into the season. Because the Jets are up 2-0 or something.
Oh yeah, if the Bills play bad in this game, Tim's gonna be like, I told you the division is wide open next year.
He's already proclaimed that the Jets are gonna have the best QB in the division next year. That's already happened.
Said that on tape. I never said that on tape.
You said it in text, and I tweeted it
on
out.
tape. Tim.
So Tim, where are you going in this game?
I am leaning towards Buffalo. I'm trying to decide what would be funnier if the Bills lost the lid lifter and their season ended now, or if they got like destroyed in Kansas City with everybody having so much hopes for the Bills, and then they just go in there and lose by 40 because they're nowhere near as good as Kansas City. I'm not sure which I think would be funnier, or if they lost another Super Bowl, that would also be sort of a side splitter too.
Weird.
So I'm trying to figure out where I think the funniest loss would be, and I don't think it would be here. I actually think this would just be more like annoying and tragic, sort of the way like the Saints last year got thrown out of the playoffs in the first round against a far inferior
It would
team.
be dark. It would be dark. Bills fans
It
would go
would-
to
yeah,
a
like
dark place
it would be
if
dark.
they lose this game.
This would be a really, really bad loss for Buffalo. Bills fans can dress it up however they'd like. This would be a catastrophic loss for the team. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think I should have to lay a touchdown, and I don't have to lay a full touchdown. And it's Phillip Rivers in the playoffs, on the road, in the cold, and I don't have to lay a touchdown. It all adds up to me having to play the Buffalo Bills here.
I hope, because I know a lot of Bills fans.
Getting that out of the way. Did you? Oh, hold on. Also on the Custy Awards, Tim just brought up how the Saints got beat last year by the Vikings. That's one of the sports Custies that you can vote on. That tragedy couldn't fall upon New Orleans for 3 straight years.
Get to it when we get to it, but I have very strong feelings about the Saints this week.
Now, you know, Pat's probably got a special lined up that we could do at a later date. Win or lose this game, the Bills will be ranked incredibly high in my season franchise rankings. Win or lose. The program's excelled. The quarterback's going to get, I know Tim has informed me that it's not baseball. There's not multiple MVP votes. We don't go second, third, fourth
but he
place.
could come second in the MVP.
But there are people that might even give him a first place vote. Like, that's a legitimate thing. So to me, they've had a great year. You don't have to win it all at once. I don't know. I'm totally in. But if they lose this game, I've worn my butt. Like, you sort of like, oh shit, we lose this game, the rest of the weekend sucks. We're the curtain jerker. Like, I'm not going to want to watch football all weekend now. There's 5 games I'm going to want to be in like a vodka sleep nap in.
It's true. This happens to the
It
Jets a
sucks
lot. They
playing
play
this
on
game.
Saturday. We often get
'Cause
the Saturday game when we make the playoffs.
But if you
whether
win, it
it's
makes the rest of the weekend
well,
amazing.
that's it. The year we beat the Bengals early in that first game. It's very rare for us to get the very first game on a Saturday because we're the Jets. But like the year we beat the Chargers on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
We lost to the Raiders on a Saturday night. We beat the Colts on a Saturday night. We have a history of like playing these early games, so I know what it's like. Like you want to win so badly so you can enjoy the weekend, but if you lose, like it just feels like your heart's been ripped out. Like I remember that happened to. Anyway, it's happened to me too, so I understand. So I never. It's like in the NCAA tournament, if like Notre Dame is tipping off as the lid lifter, I hate that because like the whole great day is ruined if they lose their game. So I never liked being the first game in the playoffs, and I never liked being the last game in the playoffs. So you want to be in the middle, in my opinion. That's the best spot to be. But listen, be that as it may, it's Buffalo, it's Indianapolis. They were never going to get a marquee slot between two teams that are just again it's the AFC. So even more reason not to put this game in prime time. So whatever. I think it should be a fun game.
Yeah, I hope
if it
so.
is
17
the last
to
time
17.
Indianapolis went to Buffalo was that massive blizzard snow game a couple of years ago, where I think it was like 8-0,
17.
something like that. No, well, they played each
Not
other
week 1.
at Indy last year or 2 years ago, but the last time Indy came to Buffalo was that massive blizzard. And right now they're not calling for snow; they're calling for what Americans would say is 22 degrees.
Freezing. It's going to be
but
freezing. What I
It's
was
Buffalo,
reading today.
and
It's
snow
early
comes
in
out
the
of
week.
nowhere.
It's early in
So-
the week for us to be really looking at weather, but early weather indicates
It's going to be
freezing.
cold.
And just to go on to the point about being, you don't want to lose the curtain jerker because it just ruins everything. I feel this way. Like if the Chargers are playing Thursday night and they lose, like Sunday football, got this L feeling. Now I'm used to it now. It's more for like seasons with expectations, but I don't like curtain jerking anything.
Well, Tim, do you think that the Jets don't have experience in the earliest game on the Saturday in the playoffs because the Jets are now the franchise that has spent the most time of making the playoffs? You don't even remember? That maybe even
it's
I
remarkable.
don't even know if the Saturday game existed the last time the Jets made the playoffs.
It's remarkable that for so many years, the Jets were a reliant team that would make the playoffs pretty consistently. We had that first game of the year against the Colts of the playoffs. We won 41-0 the last time we won the division. We
When was that?
used to make the playoffs.
What year was that?
02, so the 03
20
playoffs.
So it was 18
The 03
years ago.
playoffs. But anyway, my point is that
That's
we used to get into the playoffs all the time.
that is a legal adult ago.
We used to get into the playoffs all the time, and now it's been since our last playoff win was the Bart Scott's Can't Wait in Foxborough, and our last playoff game was when the Steelers stole the AFC Championship game on a ridiculous hold on a third down on a team that probably would have won the Super Bowl. Anyway, but I can't believe it's been that long, and that we now wear that collar.
You're like the Pittsburgh Pirates, bro. No, they've probably even done something good under Cliff.
Well, the
Hurley.
Pirates made the playoffs a couple of times. Yeah, like I don't know who to describe us as in terms of long term, like the Sacramento Kings, in terms of like not having made the playoffs in forever. Like that's essentially
New York
who we've
Knicks.
become.
No, the Knicks.
Well, no, the Knicks made the playoffs when Carmelo was there.
The Knicks are New York's team.
The Knicks made the playoffs the year I lived in New York City, and then won a bunch of
Yeah,
money
the year
off people when
that-
they lost to Indiana.
Yeah, well, yeah, they lost in the second round because they had Amari and they had Anthony and they had a pretty good.
And then they had no answer for Roy Hibbert.
Well, Roy Hibbert was always good in college, so I wasn't surprised. Anyway,
Roy
we're getting off
Hibbert
topic.
went from like defensive stalwart to being out of the league in 2 years.
Honestly,
once basketball.
Well, he was
shifted.
so big.
It was just the way that people played basketball shifted, and he was useless.
Yes, that's right. I agree with that.
So I would say the reason you take the Bills in this game, like weather aside, everything like that, especially with the injuries on the offensive line, and maybe like the kicker, I don't know where Indy's better than Buffalo. Do you? Like you would normally say, like, hey, Frank Reich has an
Running
advantage.
backs, but that doesn't matter.
Great.
Like their actual depth.
Jonathan Taylor almost ran for 200 yards last week. They almost lost to
You're asking me a
Jacksonville.
position group that's better. Their running
Doesn't
back
this game-
group is better than the Bills' running back locker room. That doesn't.
This
that
game
won't
is
get them
dying
far,
to be
but
teased. This game is dying to be teased down to pick.
It's unfortunate because what is the Bills' weakness? Their secondary.
I would say that their run defense is probably it, but it's looked a lot better basically since
Yeah,
they got
with
their
Milano
linebacker.
and Edmonds when they're both
I
playing.
mean, that
and
is
stuff.
Indianapolis's path to victory. If they can feed that running back and he can make something happen. Like I think that is
path
their
to
best
victory is Eberflus drawing up a couple beauties, and they've got some high-end defensive ends that can do what seems like nobody's done in 2 months, which is keep Josh Allen down or make Josh Allen make one of those old mistakes that feel like a different player now. He doesn't feel like that guy that's capable of that stuff anymore. But there are some high-end defensive players, whether it be Rucker
Or even Leonard
or
getting
Buckner and Leonard, DeForest Buckner. Sorry, Rucker. What I think of Hootie and the Blowfish. Yeah,
Let it cry, Jeff. Let it cry.
there's some high-end defensive players there that are going to need to make huge plays in this game. Plays that
And
we
Frank Wright's
haven't
every
seen
bit as
Allen
good a
make
coach as
in a long
McDermott.
time.
I don't know if he is.
I think he
We'll
might be
find
even
out.
better.
We'll
I think
find out.
Frank
I'm
Wright's a
excited.
genius.
A lot of talk of, I guess it's the easy dot to link of obviously the Eagles will call the Colts about Wentz with the Frank Reich.
Frank
dot.
Reich revenge game.
Why is this?
Sort
Oh,
of.
yeah, former Bill.
Former
sure.
Bill?
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I would think of is if you like, I like the Bills a lot -6.5. I like the first quarter, first half over as well. Indy loves scoring points right away and then doing nothing in the second half.
Yeah, Philip and Frank design a great couple first drives, I guess.
Yeah, and then like they don't know how to
Yeah,
adjust.
they scheme a couple things that work that they see on tape, and then McDermott will make adjustments, and Philip be in trouble.
Yeah. All right.
Buffalo is one of those teams this week. Buffalo and Baltimore are the favorites. That if they get down early, I think they're in real trouble.
I don't think
Is this
the
on
only
a
two
ticket,
teams.
and you want to parlay here? Nothing with the Bills for you?
Well, I mean, it doesn't count
Money
for
line
against my
teaser?
season
What?
record,
What?
but
Well,
I absolutely.
it does count for your season record if you're going to do some free money stuff.
Yeah, it's a free
Well,
money
I
tally.
kind of had put together a 5-team tease,
Oh
but
my God. 5 team tees? Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Last time you made
No,
a teaser, you lost all 4 of them.
yeah, but okay, but we're going to start with a layup by teasing Buffalo down
Layup. Layup.
to a half. To
You
a half.
hear that,
point.
Buffalo? It's a layup.
So it's a 6-point teaser?
Yeah.
I will say the Bills, I'm not buying into, as I kind of joked before, about them not having a bye that they would have deserved. Their snowballs,
rules are the rules.
Their snowball is going downhill. And if they could start this thing off like you're expecting them to, watch the F out.
I'm
F
concerned
out.
about them next round because if they steamroll Indy, the expectations for them against, let's say, Pittsburgh ends
I don't
up
think
winning.
the expectations are changing much. People are expecting them to take
No.
care of Indy.
Ask Bills fans. They have it in the back of their throat. They know.
They know, but
They
they're
know.
not talking about it.
No, they're not. You can't bring it up. It's like Fight Club.
I don't want to bring it up. I want the best for them. They're great people. They're an American treasure
But as someone else who has a lot of Bills fans in
their
my
orbit.
life,
Yeah.
they're just waiting for the shoe to drop.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
bad, something outrageously
Come on,
bad
Bills
to happen.
fan, Charger fan, Lion fan, Brown fan. Like,
I would
we're
say
snake-bitten.
I would say the Bills have had it worse. Like in big.
I'll be optimistic. I mean, the Cubs won the World Series. The
Yeah,
Bills can do
exactly.
fine.
I hope the best.
I hope for them too, but like Music City Miracle,
don't.
losing 4 Super Bowls in a row, like
Yeah,
just
yeah, I know.
shitty stuff. Tyrod
snake-bitten, just
Taylor
snake-bitten.
throwing for 3 yards in a playoff game.
Snake
Where the
bit.
hell
They're
that
snake
was?
bit, but this is.
I mean, I don't cheer for
time
them
is now.
ever when
Time
they're
is
not playing
now.
a team. Like when they're not playing a divisional team, I never cheer for them, and I'd be fine if they lost. But I'm not picking it.
I would listen if they lose this game.
That's sad.
I will be on the internet putting air in their tires because I think they deserve it and everything is.
And you don't
They don't
want
wanna
to
hear
kill
that.
you.
They will not want to hear that. They'll be going to the Anchor Bar to eat their wings and be sad.
You
I
really
don't care. I'm saying every.
I think you really overrate how popular the Anchor Bar is. As every single one of our Buffalo viewers always tells you, like no one goes there.
But it invented the chicken
Yeah,
wing. So, like,
you've heard of it, so
gotta-
everyone must go there.
it's world famous.
Maybe to you.
To everyone. It's the
People
most
don't even say it has the best
famous
wings in
thing.
Buffalo.
It's the most famous thing in Buffalo is the Anchor Bar.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Name
Listen,
something more famous.
as someone that grew up in Toronto his whole life, we went to Buffalo a lot for various reasons, events, even just to shop, all sorts of things. Like sports contests, like kids, like Little League or traveling hockey. No one at the. What do you mean the anchor bar, man?
I don't care.
Name a
I
more
don't.
famous
I don't need him to continue to go on about this. We need to go on to the next
I'm
game.
right.
We're already 25 minutes in. We have 5 games left. You said you wanted to get out of here before 7.
Yeah,
We're not on a good pace. We don't need Tim filling the air up with nonsense. Rams at Seahawks. We just saw this game a few weeks ago. Seahawks are favored by 4 at home. 43 is the over-under. It opened at 4.5. Goof is apparently not playing again, which is probably good news for the Rams. What's the other dude's name? Completely forgot. Walford.
A Waldorf salad. I want a Waldorf salad.
I'm taking the Rams. I have been thoroughly unimpressed by Seattle's offense over like the past, except for against the Jets. But I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Against like reasonable teams, they score like 20, 25 points a game. I think the Rams defense is a little bit better and they lose by a field goal. So I like the +4. I think this is a field goal game either way. So I'm going to take the points. I like the Rams. All right. You guys aren't making picks.
I like Seattle. I'm seeing reports that they're supposed to get healthy.
Jamal Adams might not play.
Well, I'm hoping he plays. It seems like their offensive line might be united for the first time in months, literally going back to the first month of the year. I think that would be a big deal for them, Pat. And as I've mentioned almost every year when we do our playoff show, quarterback making his first ever playoff start.
Unless Goff plays.
Unless Goff plays, but I think Wolford's going to play because I think McVay would rather play Wolford.
If I'm betting on the Rams, I'd rather play Wolford too.
Yeah.
Because he's not Goof.
So going back to what I believe is 2002 per WalterFootball.com, 15-34-1 ATS are first-time quarterbacks and 16-34 straight up. History isn't kind to them, and Wolford would belong in a quarterback class that's closer to your
AJ McCarron,
Todd Collins, Joe Webb, Ryan Lindley, Connor Cook, at a ladder of first-time playoff quarterbacks in the pantheon of football in the last 18 years. So, but based on that, I am going to take Seattle. But I am higher on the Rams. They cost me a lot of money with the future. Good thing I got a live midseason Bills bet at a good number to eat some of that Rams loss that I took. And I really do like what I've seen on all aspects, but I'm taking Seattle.
Tim, you're the big Rams supporter. How do you feel about them without their quarterback?
So I started the week. This is the only game I've sort of flipped in my mind on all week. I started the week on Seattle, and the more I thought about it, I thought, look, I watched this game 2 weeks ago. It was a very tight defensive battle, and a couple of dumb mistakes from the Rams caused it to go Seattle's way. So just based on the number of points, I will take the Rams. I don't know whether I would pick the Rams to win the game or not. Yet Walford, I mean, I watched a good amount of that Arizona game. Walford looked pretty decent after his first interception. Like, he certainly didn't look comfortable back there. They're rolling him out a lot to run, but he's fine. And the Rams have playmakers on offense that can sort of pick him up, but they have disruptors on defense. Now, what scares me most is that, am I really going to back John Walford over Russell Wilson? Because that's what I'm doing. That sounds like insanity. And I am going to do it anyway because I don't know what I'm doing in wildcard weekend. This is why I'm so bad at this. Because here I am picking a very pedestrian to probably bad quarterback up against a Hall of Famer on the road. That seems foolish. But yeah, here I am. I can do no other. I think the Rams are the play. It would not shock me in the least if the Rams won this game and ruins everybody's TV hopes by throwing the Rams up to Green Bay next week rather than Tampa, which is what the networks want.
Well, we'll see about that when we get to the next game.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't like that I'm on the same side of Tim for the first 2 games. He's talking about being like 2-40 ever.
You had to know because he's fake gotten behind the Bills for the last little bit, and he's been a Ram guy all year.
Yeah, but he was telling me earlier in the week that he's on Seattle. Now he says he's flipped.
I did. And I flipped, and we're
what
teasing
what
the
draft
Rams
pick
up.
did Seattle have? Oh, because they're
10.5.
still in the playoffs. We don't know which
Correct.
pick they're sending. Okay.
So as soon as they
20-something.
lose, the better.
The
soon as
sooner
they
they
lose, the better.
lose, the better. Yeah.
Night game.
I got a
Tampa
pick.
Bay, Tim's Super Bowl pick. Here we go. Favored by 8.5 on the road in Washington. 45 is the over-under. You think I'm not going to bet the football's money line because I am betting the football's money line. Give me all the Washington I can handle. Plus 8.5.
Fair.
I'm going to watch this go up to 9, 9.5, and I'm going to take that. So it opened at 7, 7.5, 8. It's now 8.5. All of the money in the world is on Tampa. It's a very, very small sample size of like the loser division winner that gets in, but I believe they're undefeated.
I like it.
No,
Yeah.
they're not. The Cardinals got blown out.
But the
in that
Cardinals
game.
also stole a few of those games. I remember.
But then again,
in
the
this
Cardinals
spot.
may not have been the division champion. The Panthers may have been. So I may be wrong.
Whatever.
The
Chargers
Panthers,
were
I
a
think maybe the Panthers
Chargers were a loser in this.
No,
this
they were
game.
8-8.
We
Pretty sure
were
they
still a
8-8.
loser. We were the loser team hosting Peyton Manning, and Darren Sproles went lily dipping into the end zone in overtime. Okay,
That was a great game. That was a great game.
we've seen this a lot. Yeah, I was at the International Bowl that afternoon. Toronto had a bowl game. Pat,
I remember.
for like 2 years.
UConn used to Derek Brown. I
UConn
wanna say?
Buffalo. There was Derek Brown, Darius Butler. There were like 3 NFL players in this one game. Cam Stewart was the host
Jesus Christ.
of the game. I'm not kidding.
Was it better or worse attended than when the Buffalo Bills used to play there?
Worse.
Worse. Yeah, worse.
There's like I'd imagine there's like a
But
thousand
weren't people like
at the
giving
game.
away Bills tickets at the Sky Dome
Oh yeah,
at the last
put
minute?
it this way: if the Buffalo Bills are playing regular season games in Toronto and no one goes, imagine what UConn versus Buffalo in a bowl game is going to do.
Yeah,
Well, but I figure maybe people
I
travel.
will quickly say the thing that the Buffalo and Toronto experience was horrible. They got their price point wrong. They were very cocky in just thinking we would eat it up as much as we all do love NFL football. Sort of Toronto doesn't want to sort of tell someone else's home team like that it's yours. Maybe just a myriad of different teams would have been. But the one thing Toronto did succeed in that showing to the league, although it will be a slow burn, is that the premium and the suites and the sponsors, they're all there. They are all there to pay the exorbitant prices that this league will want to charge if it ever eventually does decide that Toronto is
I am
NFL worthy.
Fully on record that the NFL should never go to Toronto. If the
I could
NFL
care
ever
less.
goes to Canada, it should go to Montreal.
Sure. I
100%.
got no.
They like football
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't care. Sure.
Bills fans here do not want to watch the game in Toronto. It's the tailgating.
Yeah, you
experience.
wanna
It's
go
to-
2.5
of course,
hours to
yeah.
get to Buffalo. Like it's the
You can't tailgate by the Sky Dome? There's
No.
not a huge
They also had like
They
these
have a
embarrassingly-
tailgate, but it's not a true tailgate.
You can go to
like
fucking
you can't
shitty
drink in
real
the
sports.
parking
But
lot.
they
They
also
charge you like
came-
$8 a drink. Like it's bullshit.
They
It's
got
not
the
same
worst
experience.
games ever. They got like a Bills Dolphin game
It's
that
like
was
a London game.
9-6 and a Bills Bears game that was like 9-6. Whatever.
I forget which one I went to, but like when you would go, I assume it's like the same way in London when you get the London game. Like you show up, like there's Bills fans there, but most people are like wearing jerseys of random teams.
That's what's happening to the Raptors in Tampa.
yeah.
It's just you're Jordan
I like
and
basketball.
Kobe. Oh, I like basketball. The NBA's down the street. Okay, I'm going and I'm wearing just an association jersey. Back to this game, Pat. I'm scared that Tampa will make me look stupid.
Me too.
I won't be the only one. I kind of called it out, but they're here. As I said last week, I don't think they've actually played their best football consecutively this year, so I'm afraid they have a run in them. But I like this, and I like the points. Washington on every metric, first against pass yards per game, fourth points per game defense, second yards per play defense. You said it last week. You're excited to see Chase Young close the pocket on Tom Brady. They won't be able to up-chuck Kamalu comfortably to those big play receivers.
Is Evans in or out? Evans is
I don't
out,
have
right?
a clue. He could play.
I thought
He
he's
could not
in.
play.
Oh, he is in? Like for sure
Well,
he's in?
There's no structural
I-
damage, so they're saying that
it's a playoff game. If there's no structural damage and he can play, he's going to play.
Anyway-
Yeah, but no structural damage doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, they're not going to run Mike Evans out there at 40% so he can get hurt.
I don't know.
Washington, I don't think will be able to make big plays too. Like,
Oh,
I
listen,
bet you
Tampa's D is fine.
Rivera will call up a couple bombs like McLaren. We're banking on him. McLaurin. I like the 8.5 here. If people want to keep betting it up, I will probably be making a weekend teaser. This will be the other way for sure.
I don't like this as a teaser.
Oh, because it can get out of hand.
If Tampa wins, they can win this like 50-3 or something.
And you don't really like Washington for a backdoor isn't really an inspiring situation.
Washington hasn't looked as good the last couple of weeks as they had a couple weeks.
but
If they play like they did Sunday night, they're going to lose by 35 points.
Sure, but
Now, that doesn't
we
mean
see,
that
we
one
see
thing's
this
gonna come
every
together.
single year that some team like limps into the playoffs, then all of a sudden They're back to what
Well, that's
the best version of what we
fair.
think of them is. There is a
fair.
specific game plan that Washington has to follow. All they should be doing is watching the game tape of Denver versus New England that year that Peyton Manning sucked and Denver beat them in the playoffs anyway. That should be the game plan. Just how did they win? Like, try to win 16-13. Like, that's how they have to win this game.
I agree. I'm going to tease Tampa down. They're the third part of the teaser, and I'm going to take Tampa.
Wait, did you tease the Rams up?
I did.
So
Sorry. Yes,
so
I
you
did.
got them up to 10.
So there's only
Yeah,
one
and
game. I thought that was going to be the game you were taking
Yeah, well, he didn't
off.
say anything.
No.
Yeah.
No. There's only one game I'm skipping, and that wasn't it.
You gave the impression that it was, but
So
okay.
Tampa
Sorry,
minus 2.5?
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa down. I just think that this Washington story is very nice, and everything you said is true. But I am convinced, from what I have seen from the Buccaneers, that they are in FU mode. And if things go as I think they may, they win this game. Next week they go to the Superdome and they strike revenge by crushing New Orleans, and then they get Green Bay in the championship game maybe, and that would be a blast. Tampa is moving in I picked at the start of the year Casey and Tampa to win the Super Bowl. I'm not deviating from my picks. I'm standing firm with them. And I think there's definitely a path here for Tampa to start knocking some teams over. And this is a great spot to be in. Of all the
I
teams
don't
you
think
could
this
pick,
is
you
near
pick
the
Washington.
walkover though. That like
It's not even the biggest spread of the week. I don't think it's a walkover, but I think it's a pretty reasonable team to draw against in week one,
And
considering
you
all the
wanna
other
know
NFC teams.
they're not even the worst team playing.
No, they're not.
No.
They are certainly not.
But
Even
the
though they have
Browns
the
are
worst
the worst team in the
record, they're
playoffs.
not the worst team playing. They
No,
might not. They might be
Chicago.
There might be
No,
two
I would say
teams worse. There might be two teams.
The Browns
worse.
might be worse at this point, especially
They may
without
be.
a head
They may
coach.
be. But that's a different conference. So anyway, I like what Tampa's doing here.
Has,
I'm going to back them.
has Tom Brady won a primetime game yet this year?
It's been a long time since I left.
Well, they
you without a dope beat to start.
They beat
to.
the Giants in primetime.
Oh, yeah, that's correct. It was a Monday night game?
They didn't cover then. I guess
They did not. They have not covered a game.
No.
in
Yeah, I
primetime
think
yet.
that's the stat I was probably seeing too, Pat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be not fun to watch. It's just going to be oh, dirt ball. Oh, sack. Oh, throwaway. Oh, Alex Smith threw for 4 yards.
Is there a playoff game on the Tampa roster outside of Brady?
Antonio Brown.
Antonio
Ndamukong Suh
Brown?
made the playoffs with the Lions a
Yeah,
time or
yeah,
two.
he stepped on a face or two, right?
Bruce Arians.
Yeah, of course. It's
Yeah,
a very.
Bruce Arians
I
got to a
mean,
championship game.
they're not the only one. I mean, going down Buffalo. I mean, I guess Buffalo's team got
Gronk.
that game last year.
Didn't mention Gronk, but obviously.
Yeah, no. Okay, you've named a few.
All right, that brings us to the midpoint of the show where we normally do Cust Corner, but I've already released a few Cust Corners. The best of football season, part 2, is coming next week if people want to check that out. But we have football stuff that we can talk about. Just some quick topics before we get into the Sunday games themselves. So, Geoff, are you excited that Jason Garrett is going to be the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers?
So I got to tell you, Pat, in all the years of interneting, I don't think my phone ever lit up like that before. I hope when good things happen to me, you guys will light me
Never.
up like that.
Never.
Like that.
I was a carrier pigeon, but I sent it within the first 30 seconds. Of
Oh,
it
there are
being
people still sending it today. Here's the thing. You think for a moment I was going to let this news ruin the gloriousness of what yesterday means or meant to the team? I will not. I have a couple thoughts on this. I'm not going to sweat it at all unless there's a second interview, Pat. There are 14, 15 maybe interviews the Chargers have requested. I think he's the only one with current NFL head coaching experience. So there's clearly a direction that they seems like they want to go. In their statement yesterday, they used the word, an innovative future. I don't really believe that lines up with Jason Garrett. And I don't know what agent we owe a favor to say, listen, we need his name out there. We scratched your back. Now it's time to glad hand Garrett. No, I'm not even going to get concerned about it. My voice will not be raised. I'll give you the reaction you people want when a second Garrett interview is scheduled.
See, I thought it was some sort of like new executive rule. When the pandemic started, they changed a bunch of these rules. the playoffs are obviously different. They squeezed in an extra game for next year, but maybe there's like a new version of the Rooney Rule where you have to interview bad head coaches just to like give them a chance, so you don't hurt their feelings or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. It's even insulting to us as football fans that he's even being interviewed. Like, as much as I think there's a 2% chance he'd actually get the job, that he would sit there and impress this family more so than the 12, 14 young, innovative future minds. So I'm not really ready to worry that, although I break a sweat when I do think this is the man that hired Norvell Turner, when no one really thought Norvell Turner deserved to be a head coach again. So that does concern me. I will also think maybe the boys just had to put a name on the list that Dad recognizes, because we've got 14 names here, Dad, you've maybe never heard of. So here's one you know. And the Chargers and the Cowboys do a lot of joint summer practices together. They were always in Oxnard. We were where we are out in California. So there's like a close, tight relationship there, and maybe a lot of sideline conversations, on summer days. But this is not happening. I did feel this was needed to be addressed off the top, because I couldn't talk about what I wanted to talk about, because all you people want to talk about is Jason Garrett being my head coach.
Because it's funny.
It is funny, and I get it.
It's only funny when it's not happened yet.
Yes. You can't fire Lynn and go to Garrett. Again, yesterday was way too good of an important day, of a successful day for me to go there. I'm excited, though. I am excited. I am fired up. I am fired up. You could tell it was a serious endeavor, because the Chargers Twitter, even through good times and bad, Pat, is always very joking. And yesterday it was pretty much the statement. And then they went into deep, dark silence for the day. And then today they released a thank you video to Coach. A kind man.
How sweet.
But it was time to separate Anthony Lynn, the man, from Anthony Lynn, the football coach. I don't really want to get into who I want the options to be. That could be for a future we could discuss.
We'll say that if they haven't hired anyone by next week,
save that for your DMs to the owner.
Maybe we'll save that for next. If teams have not hired coaches by next week, maybe that will be our Thursday show next week. We'll talk about best spots. I did want to say is I'm not completely joking about this like fake Rooney Rule for bad coaches. You just wait until the Jets try to hire Freddie Kitchens or something like that.
The Jets are going to interview Lynn next week. He used to work for the Jets. They're going to interview Lynn next week, and then you can all send Tim the same messages you were sending me.
Yeah, but Tim will talk himself.
I know. Hold on. I've got a lot of notes here, and I'll be quick. I will be.
Okay.
We're not going to get into names, but Robert Saleh is the only defense. Sorry. If I want to go offense, I just want to go offense. I want to be all in on offense. I think we're LA. We got to be Showtime. We got to excite. That's just what we got to do. And just trust that Joey Bosa, Derwin James will make a couple big plays throughout the game. Draft more receivers. Like all offense. That's what I believe. Here's the reality, though. Lynn, I believe, lost this job, Pat, simply because of the Buffalo and Atlanta incidents. I truly believe that. Like, those were, like, thank God, I guess, for those incidents. But this is a man, he lost the Sanderson account. Like, that simple. He was a good employee. He did some good things, but he took his cock out at Christmas. And that's a fireable offense. Like, those incidents that happened were insane lacks of communication and were instant malpractice and fireable offenses. And he made my daughter cry. That's when he deserved to never work again. That's when I could never look at him again. Oh, you're asking, how did he make my daughter cry? Well, I'll tell you how he made my daughter cry. It was that incident versus the Falcons before the half, Pat. It was during Hanukkah. And my wife asked me, they're like 4 minutes to go in the half. At halftime, come down. We'll light the Hanukkah candles because, 4 o'clock game. Halftime's already like past 6 o'clock almost, right? So it's like dinner time for the kids, but I'm doing my thing, watching the game, and I'm going to come down in halftime.
And then instead of lighting the Hanukkah candles, you lit yourself on fire in protest.
No! That incident happened before the half, and I didn't allow myself a moment to cool off. And I went downstairs hotter than a firecracker, an innocent, beautiful, lovely Lily was decorating Hanukkah cookies because my sister got her some like icing and sprinkle kit to like do it yourself for kids. And I just like, I grabbed a cookie and I like just smushed it. I was so angry. And she just started crying. And I blame Coach Lynn.
You're going to end up like Bean Dad, pal.
So Coach Lynn made my daughter
Can I
cry.
say in defense of the young kid, I still can't use a manual can opener. And I'm 33. I cannot use one. I cannot figure it out. It is really complicated. To ask a young kid to do that
Who
is
used a
impossible.
can opener?
Oh, you'd been. So the funny thing is, Tim, did you? It was John Roderick who sent out the tweet. Do you know who John Roderick is?
I do not.
Okay, I'm a big fan of John Roderick. He's like a podcaster, and his whole shtick is like telling really long, exaggerated stories that aren't real, which this very clearly was, and it somehow like basically cost him his job.
Yeah, that's. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, clearly as much as you do. I just know that I find can openers to be very, very, very tricky.
I do too. And I've got one final thing to say. I never called for the head of the GM. I didn't think it made sense. I thought he's done very well with the high-end draft capital. I think he's a crucial man to have as we're going to try and hire this coach. He's about to hire his third effing coach, and there won't be a fourth. The fact that he's been around 7 years, has 2 playoff wins, and he's going to get to hire a third coach, and I didn't really put him on the hot seat, means how much I do believe in the roster construction. And maybe that's my own naivete, I guess.
We good?
No. I thanked John via DM.
You got 1 more minute.
I thanked him via DM. That's all. Chargers then, Chargers now, Chargers forever. And in closing, we'll do all this later, Pat. But I would argue, did I lose 4 spots in the draft I would have loved to keep? Yes. But we had a best case scenario season on a realistic basis. Realistically, this team won 7 games, and I developed a quarterback that I watched the tape, and I've experienced Tantra.
Like Sting. Is it happening right now?
Like I watched this tape, and I don't know. I've never seen it. I've seen it before, but it does things. So I thought the season was a best case scenario. I'm telling you, there were not 5-6 teams that when it's all said and done, will say as a franchise, they're in a better place 12 months to the day of a season ending than the Chargers.
Hands above the desk, Geoff, for
They're
the rest
still
of the
above.
episode. They're above. They're above. I'm just reminding you.
So I'm done. I'm fired up. I feel like we won a big playoff game yesterday. I am fired up. And you can all laugh at me, and I'll give you the response you want when Jason Garrett's back for interview 2.
You can tune in to the Geoff Fienberg Show, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on FTNDaily.com every single Wednesday, where I'm assuming you're going to talk about the Chargers for 45 minutes?
No, we'll do about like 15, and then we're
golf.
going to get into the golf. Yeah. Golf is back. But I'll have some more things to say. I'm sure the interview requests will be out there even more. But I'm a thankful, and I sent a thank you.
So I feel like this is kind of past the point of even talking about it now because it's been just kind of hammered down on every side at this point. But just very briefly, I do want to touch on the Eagles thing from Sunday night, just because Tim is he's so wholesome at heart,
A pillar of integrity.
Yeah, that how could any team do it? Now I think it works on 2 levels. Being me, Pat Mayo, I don't give a shit whatsoever. I would be the same guy who owned the Eagles being like, you get these fuckers out of the game. I want a better draft spot. Click, or you're fired. That would be me, owner of the Eagles. Now, that would also be me not understanding at the same time the effect that it would have on my team. Maybe they did have on that.
Yeah, you're not in the locker room.
Because I think I'm not there. Like, I think that is the only real downside to it, because I don't give a shit either way. If they're trying to throw the game or they're not trying to win, it doesn't really matter to me. There's enough teams in Week 17 that don't try to win that it doesn't really bother me. But if there is a micro result of this where you've lost some people in your locker room, although they came out, like I read reports before the game, they said they were going to do this. Like when we were trying to...
The players, though, have all said today that they're against what
they just don't want to get attacked by an internet mob either. Like
no one's blaming the players.
No
one's blaming the players.
But no one is a bigger loser in all of this than Giants players being mad about it. Win a fucking extra game.
Sure.
Oh, we're 6-10. We didn't make the playoffs.
How,
Fuck you.
And Dolphin fans, I got to give credit to Dolphin fans because I
well.
picked on them. This is a classy group. Brian Flores, no secrets, an excellent coach. They've handled having 10 wins and not making the playoffs with absolute class. And
Because they don't want to see Tua get blown out in the
You
playoffs.
see a team and its fan base with 6 wins. The Eagles didn't know them shit. The Eagles didn't know them shit.
The Eagles probably thought it was funny to keep the Giants out of the playoffs.
And they're fucking allowed.
Like hearing
That's
from Eagles fans, they think it's hilarious. And they got 3 spots in the draft.
Listen, I understand it from your end. If it
that's
shatters
that's
the
a
locker
difference
room.
this year between Herbert and that like jabroni Arizona drafted.
And also, Pat, why weren't the Dolphins freaking out? The Steelers bench Ben Roethlisberger and all their TJ Watt didn't play. So congratulations.
through the game.
Congratulations,
What's the difference?
Miami.
They didn't play them all game.
Congratulations, Miami and your fans. You handled the situation with class. You played a great season. You won 10 games. You came up short. And you acted exponentially more mature than the team and its fans who won 6.
If I came up
Thor,
short,
you will get your turn. But Doug Peterson only owes the Philadelphia Eagles. You could argue Doug Peterson owes the game of football, but the game of football doesn't write his check. The game of football doesn't feed Doug Peterson. He is only in debt to one person, and that is the Eagles franchise. And if that was discussed internally by the Eagles, which it appears it does, is what they want to do, that's allowed. As our buddy Thor Nystrom brought up, what does it cost to trade to move from 9 to 5 in the first 3 rounds? To trade that to get the 5. Think of that draft capital.
It's a second round pick.
It costs you a lot if you want to move from 9 to 5 and then do it again in the second round and do it again in the third round. I don't know. Is the system wrong? Should NFL maybe do a lottery so we can't maybe have that on week
Or
17?
I can't even think of what sort
put
of
a game in prime time where you know the coach is going to go all out. But and it's more embarrassing because NBC flexed the game and people thought they should see it. And I feel bad for Jalen Hurts, but the Eagles don't owe the Giants shit. And they don't really owe, Doug Peterson doesn't owe football anything. That's a weird angle, but that's where I am.
So
and props to you, Miami, and your fans and your coach.
I think that there are 2 things here. One, if this game isn't in prime time and everyone's watching it, it's not a big deal whatsoever. No one really cares. And 2, Tim, is there a rule that you can implement here? Because let's say because I don't think that they will, but let's say they try to go after the Eagles pick at this point.
How can they?
I don't understand there's any basis of them going to do that. But is there anything that you can put in? Or do you say if there's not a legitimate winner of this game gets in the playoff game, there is no Sunday night game?
Well, it was that's why this game was picked. There was no other option for NBC. They either had no Sunday nighter or this game. Like we had a couple years ago where they didn't have a Sunday nighter because there was no independent game. So they were handcuffed too. Like it was this game or nothing. So I don't know what you can implement, but I mean
Packers.
No, because the
Packers playing for a 1 seed.
Once the Saints had lost, the Bears had nothing to play for in that game.
But
the Cardinals had lost. Therefore, the Bears would have had nothing to play for.
No, that's not true because Seattle had
Bears would have had nothing to play for.
The Bears wouldn't have any. Yeah, I suppose that's true. But if Green Bay lost, then they would have dropped to the 3 seed, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
So Green Bay would have something to play for, but Chicago wouldn't.
Yeah, but if you find yourself in this scenario, make it up to NBC somehow because it's useless.
I think it's really tough. I mean, there are some years where, and you usually have it with all divisional games, week 17, that there is a win and in situation. We almost had that because the Browns and Steelers nearly became a win and in, and except week 16 went very sideways for both teams. But for Cleveland, the Jets ruined that for them. But I don't know what you implement. But I mean, you see all the time starting pitchers in baseball throw at a batter, say, "Oh, I didn't try to hit him. I was just I lost it," and then he got thrown out of the game, gets fined a lot of money. You know, if you fine Doug Peterson a lot of money, maybe the next coach will think twice before he does it again, because the league will say, "We don't think you were acting on the up and up."
But what's a lot of money though?
I don't know. I'm not in a position to
that
make
the Eagles owner just isn't going to cover.
I don't know. But Jeff Lurie's a team player for the league, so I don't think that he would play that game. I bet you there was pressure bearing down on him because, like, Jeff Lurie owes as much to his fellow owners as he owes to his franchise. And he knows that. He's a part of a collective. He's a part of a group. It's not just about the Eagles for him. It's about all the other owners in which he is a part of a club. And he has to make sure that his franchise, as every franchise, isn't doing anything to jeopardize the integrity of the league. Because if you start doing that, you know, people aren't betting on games like that. There's a domino effect of you can't even imagine what happens when teams start actually not trying to win football
Yeah,
games. One thing when
it becomes the NBA.
that's not where the league wants to be.
No, I agree.
Right? The
No,
NFL does
listen,
not want to
I
do
don't
that.
like that teams are doing this, but at the same
No,
time,
no one does.
I don't fault them for doing it.
Yeah, there are perverse incentives where people are so selfish that they only think about themselves. I get that. I
You
understand
mean the Philadelphia Eagles looking out for the Philadelphia Eagles to increase their draft spot and give themselves potentially a better chance of getting a great player. You think that's stupid on their part?
I didn't say stupid. I would never say stupid. I think it's profoundly selfish. But human beings are self-interested, and there needs to be rules, that are laid down like we have in society that guard and channel people's natural self-interests towards positive aims. What that is in this situation, it's hard to say. But what we've got ain't it. That last night's game Sunday night's game was like on a dangerous precipice of like, what are we doing here? Now, if the Eagles were intentionally not trying to win, then why is Doug Peterson then going on a stage and saying, "Oh, we were trying to win"? Obviously, he knows what he did was wrong.
Oh no, there's a very clear answer to that because just look in the same city with Sam Hinkie, and Sam Hinkie's like, "Yeah, we're trying to lose." It just didn't,
and that didn't work for the 76ers at all. It was a flop,
maybe
a complete and total flop.
Don't know
I
about
actually
that.
would argue.
What if they win the title this year?
Utter and embarrassing failure for the 70s.
I don't. They got their guys.
They have the guys that I still have a
That's
handful
nice.
of years to win with.
That's
I'm
nice.
not saying
they're not going to win anything.
But either way, him coming out and basically saying we're tanking.
the Sixers have a better roster
honest
than
about
had
it
they
then,
tried
right?
to win in those years. Like today, they're better off.
Yeah, because they got
so
Embiid and they got Simmons.
I don't.
But
mind.
either way, he came out and they basically admitted like we're trying to be as bad as possible, and then you get just roasted from everyone because of that. If Peterson says yes, we were trying to lose, it's a whole different can of worms. And no, we were trying to win. That's all you have to say, and then what are you going to do
It's
about it?
as if
Do you
he
buy
knows
any
it's
of it?
wrong and therefore can't admit it.
Are they just trying to protect Wentz? Like Hurts leading them to a walk-off Week 17 win to
Wentz
go
is gone,
into the
man.
offseason?
Wentz is gone.
Wentz has to go. Well,
Well,
you
no
think
one
he has
might
to go
be able to
pay
take.
so
No
much
one
money?
might take the contract. Even Frank Wright say no chance.
It'd be like I put it this way: if you had to, because they're two guys from the same draft, they have two basically untradeable contracts.
Right, yeah.
Would you want Wentz or would you want Goff?
Wentz.
I would take Wentz
Like
a million
90 out of a
Yeah, but if
100 out of
Wentz,
100.
but if Wentz is a toxic character in that locker room, like we've seen in the NFL in the past, where people just go home. We just can't have you here anymore. Doesn't matter what it costs.
But
anymore,
were there reports that Wentz was a toxic
you
presence,
remember when-
or just he wasn't getting
Last
along with
week or
Peterson?
so,
Talk to me and stop.
So what do you want to talk
Didn't
about?
he
Tim?
write a book that said like I'm a genius or something too? That's kind of turned people off.
I mean, you can call your book certain things, and then that will come out like I own the Rocks book. Know your role and shut your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, Tim, what's your topic?
Geoff talked about how yesterday was like a great day for him and his franchise. Well, January 1st was that day for me because in the Sugar Bowl, I got to see a glimpse of the future. And what verified for me that what I was seeing was good was that it was the talk of Twitter during the national semifinal championship game. The Jets were trending on Twitter, and like we were the topic of discussion on Twitter for the second half because Fields looked like a world beater. He looked unstoppable. Now it's one game.
So you
Granted.
did. So you didn't watch the Northwestern game?
Or the Indiana.
I watched
game.
You can shoot arrows all you want.
It's just
no,
the first time
fine.
you see the guy, and he has the best game of his career. And now, you're like,
I am
now
so
you're like,
sold.
I
have
think-
been watching.
how much film have you
nothing
watched?
But YouTube clips.
Well, you watch YouTube clips of
Nothing
him
but
throwing
film.
like deep balls.
Do you watch any of
Nothing
like
but-
the negative ones though? Because I remember last year I was like, okay, I've seen good. Now like I want to find the people telling me
think
this.
Tim
We're
does
not there
that?
yet. We're not there yet.
Tim does.
Anyway, all these people who 2 weeks ago set their hair on fire to be seen setting their hair on fire to pretend like the New York Jets had done the greatest crime to themselves in the history of the world by winning football games and costing themselves the St. Trevor Lawrence. Fields looks like he might be a guy too. And my point 2 weeks ago and its point now is that nobody knows anything about anybody. And so don't try to like prognosticate too far into the future about what pick 1 versus pick 2 may be.
You're
Urban
always
Meyer goes to
prognosticating too
Jacksonville.
far into the future.
Yeah, that's
Just
all
for
you
the
do.
record,
Urban
that's
Meyer-
all you do. I do it too, but
Urban
that's all you
Meyer's-
do.
Gets hired by Jacksonville. Maybe he wants Fields. I don't know. Maybe he wants Lawrence. Maybe he wants Fields. I don't know that there's that from what I saw, and they've played each other twice. Once, Lawrence won in part because the Ohio State's best player got thrown out for targeting, and that game changed on them 2 years ago, or last year. This year, Fields went toe-to-toe with him and blew him out. Similarly, the way Burrow last year went toe-to-toe with Lawrence and blew him out. Seems like there's a trend being set here.
So
And
Trevor Lawrence,
plays the
no
best.
good. A guy the Jets
No.
might draft, the best quarterback
Didn't say-
ever, is what
didn't
I'm
say
saying.
no.
Can you
Didn't say
rank?
no good.
Sorry, so Fields is better than Lawrence.
I didn't say that.
So
I don't
rank
know
rank
who's
the
better.
rank the quarterbacks. Give me your rankings.
Last year's class and this year's class together.
I mean, right now, I would take first overall Lawrence still. You have to. But Fields looks like every bit the
Would you
star
rather Burrow
himself.
or Fields?
Burrow, but he is coming off that knee injury. On knee injury, it's Burrow over any quarterback over the last 2 years. Not close.
Herbert or
With the knee
Fields?
injury. Right now, because he's got the injury, give me Fields.
Tua or Fields?
Herbert
Oh,
has an
geez.
injury. Herbert or Fields?
Oh, no. Oh, I would take Fields. I know you love Herbert. I was reading some very negative things about Herbert on the Twitters this week about how he wasn't very good. And I saw you got in a back and forth about it.
Oh my God. The most crazy person was telling me Herbert wasn't good in a conversation I didn't even bring up Herbert. Oh, that was good times.
My point is, we have the second most cap room going into next season. A draft pick that could
Tim,
very well
Hold on,
outland-
stop. You have the most cap room every year. You bring this up every year, and they
There are
sign
some
the
great
absolute
players.
biggest fucking losers on earth.
I get it, but there are free agents to be had. We have that number 2 overall pick plus the Seattle pick. We have, our cupboard is stocked.
I like the
Just gives us
situation.
a great opportunity to hire a really smart coach. We're interviewing Bieniemy this week. We're interviewing Daboll. Like we have some great coaches that we're looking at. Matt Campbell too. I think it could be pretty
love
good.
Matt- I
There's
love
lots of
him.
guys that we're looking
Yeah.
at. The Jets are a very, very, particularly since I think Jacksonville's off the board because it looks like Urban Meyer's going there. We become a very attractive place to go. The Chargers are too, but they don't quite have the picks we have, but they have the QB already in place.
We don't have the picks. We have the defensive end, the wide receiver,
And you don't have the pressure.
You
There's
know-
no pressure going to LA.
You're kind of
Whereas
right.
there's
Yeah.
a ton of pressure going into New York, but we have the pieces set up.
I wanted to
if
save this
Fields
more for
plays
the
the way
show
he
next week.
played. Okay,
We
then I'll
can do-
postpone it.
But I mean, just you like Fields because you saw him play for 15 minutes and he looked really good. We get it. We know how you react to these things. What if he gets blown out? What if he's horrible in the national championship game?
I would be shocked because Alabama's defense is.
What if he-
rookie.
Have
What
you
if he
seen a
is?
single clip from Northwestern or the Indiana game?
I watched the highlights of the Indiana game and I watched the highlights of the Northwestern game. No, I'm not a loyal Ohio State football watcher. Guilty as charged.
What I was gonna say is I think there's a very they have no picks in their overall roster. Not great. But they do have Deshaun Watson. I think that Houston is a intriguing coaching spot just because they
Sure
have
it is.
Watson.
Yeah, people are really poo-pooing on it. The cap situation and the picks have really made people poo-poo on it. Yeah, you have Watson, so go. I don't think it's bad. People seem to think that's the favorite for Bieniemy, but
I can see
I
that.
guess that's something you said.
I
you
think
wanna
so.
talk
I
about
I'd love
later.
to go there. Yeah.
I actually
I
think
don't-
Salah is a best fit in Houston. Improve that defense, and then Watson can carry your offense.
Salah's the only defensive guy I want. I do want to defend Tim and say I do like the situation there. I think it's
because you like the Jets. You're on record as the Jets
I-
are my
but I
second
think-
favorite team.
I think that there aren't really a ton of bad contracts. They have cap room. They have some strong pieces. They have a lot of draft equity. I think it's a nice job. I'm fearful that I will lose if the Chargers even want Brian Daboll. I'm fearful I could lose him to the Jets simply for his desire to be, which I know nothing about, wanting to be a New Jersey, New York State guy, LA. I mean, look at him. He doesn't really look like an LA guy.
What is that? Maybe you get to coach the Chargers. No one will care about.
Okay, exactly. But it's a thing. Even going outside, he just seems like a hoodie and a sweatshirt. And I'm worried he wants to be local, stay close to his parents or something in East Amherst and move to Jersey. So I'm afraid the Jet situation is enticing enough to take the coach that I want, the cap room, the draft pick, Team should be excited. Fields put on a show. I think he's too excited because
If he plays like this in the national championship game, there's no holding me back. I'm just warning people now. I'm going to have him number one.
What? Can I ask you a question?
I'm going to have him number one. Here's the fun one. Because, I mean, Ohio State quarterbacks, notoriously bad. And that is irrelevant. I know that people will make a point about that, but, like, each one is completely different. They play for different coaches, different teams.
Look at Herbert in Oregon.
Yeah, like, it's just, it's really stupid. But I can't wait for him to be like Mitch Trubisky.
I am
and then like that.
Why would you wish that on me?
Why would you wish? Because it's hilarious. All I want is for Fields to win the national championship, you to proclaim him better than Trevor Lawrence. Jets take Fields. He's awful. And then this BYU guy who gets picked at like 14 is going to be great.
Why would you wish that on me?
Because I think that's hilarious. I also
earn success.
No, because you're a giant coward and all you do is fucking whine about everything and then claim that bad things are good all the time to dilute yourself into trying to be happy, which you're not.
How am I whining?
And somehow it'll be the league office's fault.
Yeah,
that
for
the Jets
screwing
are still in wasteland.
I'm
Tim,
not whining.
I want Hugh Jackson to be the next New York Jets head coach. That's my pick.
I want to ask Tim a question. Because the way he's like, if Fields does this in the national championship, there'll be no stopping him. Him being Tim.
None.
Tim, we've sat here. It's been 17 weeks. 15 of them, I got to watch someone play. What on earth would you, if Fields would make you lose your mind by looking great in the national championship, what would you be doing if you had Herbert and he just played those 15 games for you?
Cartwheels.
You can't do a cartwheel, though.
Yeah, I could. But anyway, I'd be delighted, Jeff. You have a guy who can clearly play. My fear is that he needs to have the right coach to prevent regression. Because you see this all the time, that a guy in his rookie year has all the potential, but the wrong coaching staff gets around him and he doesn't take them.
Yeah, that's why I don't want him picking his coach like Baker did, and that's how you get Freddie Kitchens.
Maybe Freddie Kitchens could be the Jets coach.
And on top of all that, you're absolutely right. There could be regression, but I'm excited for a kid who loves football, who Pat, I know there are variables that you say mean dog shit, and I do agree.
You think that because you like Herbert and you think that he likes football, quotes, just like that guy in our
No, that's not where I'm going, but you're kind of close. I believe when you have a skill and a passion and a proven deep intelligence, that helps. It's almost like Anthony Lynn and Oregon were too stupid for him. Like, they're not feeding him enough, so he wants to take it all in. No, I'm just saying, there's an ability to learn. There's an ability to learn here. That is absolutely proven.
Genius.
So I'm excited.
Mensa member, Justin Herbert.
This guy didn't take fucking communications and be a Dean's List major with a communications.
Mm-hmm. So he's the new Toby Gerhardt?
No, I'm saying it's just an added variable on top of the effortless arm strength, effortless mobility, effortless accuracy. We'll see in 2021.
You're going to be real bummed when they lose to the Raiders twice, aren't you?
I might be. It depends how they lose.
2021 could be good years for the people on this show. Could be good.
You guys say
I
this,
think 2020.
You guys say this every
2020 was honestly, realistically, the best case scenario for the Chargers. How could it have gone better based on what you thought they were 12 months ago?
Well, they could have won those 4 games that they just absolutely blew and been in the playoffs.
And then Anthony Lynn is their coach and they suck, and this death situation happens a year later than it did yesterday.
You wouldn't want the Chargers to be in the playoffs right now.
I would want the Chargers to be in the playoffs, but I feel if the Titans lose their first game, if the Bills lose their first game, if the Ravens lose their first game, I swear to you, and you can name more teams, I will be happier exponentially than all those fans, on how their season went. As weird as that is, that's the truth. You could say I'm a fucking loser apologist.
I wouldn't say
Maybe
that.
I am.
I say you sound like those people in a relationship that they're in a bad relationship, but they just justify staying around. This is what you sound like.
Well, we're in a great place. Then in the year after counseling, we've really improved.
Usually it doesn't work out that way.
If you can't acknowledge year to year, this franchise is much closer to having it than we watch different games with different endpoints.
Now, Jeff is right. Help is here for him, and help is on the way for me. We have reasons.
Maybe it's on the way.
If he beats Alabama on Monday night. I'm just telling you.
He beats Alabama.
Me too.
Wild horses. Wild horses. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say or what I'm going to predict, but I'm just saying I don't know how I'm going to be able to stop myself. I know myself too well. I'll be too hyped.
And that's how he's acting about these college games. I just got 14
National
games of air show because that Patriots game was a kick in the nuts, but we rebounded. But it was good. It was good that before that Patriots game, we had like 8 games of really good tape that I could be like, okay, let's just breathe. We're fine. Unlike other people.
Baltimore and Tennessee kicks off Sunday. Tennessee is a 3-point dog at home against the Ravens. 55 is the over-under. I saw that since Tannehill has taken over as the Titans starter, the over is hitting like 85% of the games. I know I'm scared of Baltimore for what their overall potential is.
Bad matchup, though.
Tennessee getting points at home. You can find this 3.5 in some places. Give me Tennessee.
Okay, I like Baltimore, but it's a bad matchup. It is a bad matchup. I'm simply because how can you rake Tennessee over the coals? Good passing, accurate passing, take advantage of that secondary. They're very good against the run and they're disciplined. So you are concerned that they will just say, Lamar, throw passes to the outside, beat us, as long as they're not like playing with the lead and comfortable. And if they get behind like last year, it's Derrick Henry and it's trouble. So I think it's a bad matchup, but I am picking Harbaugh and these Ravens to just answer a bell. And in the playoff game, I think the Sunday, I'm excited for a lot of these games. The Rams-Seahawks game and the Chicago-New Orleans game is the only games I'm not like really excited for.
This is a fun one too if Baltimore ends up winning because Baltimore is a weird matchup for the Chiefs.
I like it. I'm excited.
They're a team with a wonky.
We saw that game earlier this year.
Oh yeah, and someone put out a tweet.
No,
like,
fair enough. But those games over the past like 3 years, I think Kansas City, they have been close. But that's the way that you can beat. That's on paper. I mean, very few teams.
So why can't Tennessee beat KC then?
I think the defense is better on
because
Baltimore.
Tennessee's
their secondary suck. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah,
so bad.
like Kansas City's just gonna. Well, didn't Tennessee get up like 24-0 on them last year?
And Andy
like,
Reid,
sure.
Andy Reid wouldn't even waste a moment running.
No,
Like, oh, your secondary sucks. Boop. I agree with lots of what you said. I am super excited for this game. I think
I'm going to feel bad for Lamar if they lose again because I like Lamar, but this is just a bad look at this point if he keeps getting knocked out in the first round.
yeah, but this is the first. Well, I guess the other last year was bad because it was the MVP and they were big home favorites. They're homes in the other. This is the first time they're on the road. The problem is they're the favorite. You'd love getting 3 points, I guess, with Baltimore and Vegas thinking they're even, but obviously Vegas is expecting people to want to bet Lamar.
Yeah, I guess so. I was really surprised. I thought Tennessee would most definitely be favored here, but they're not.
Just, I don't know, Tannehill and his Mahomesian stat lines.
Tannehill's good. That's the quarterback you should want. You should have just signed Tannehill and used the 6th overall pick on someone.
Buddy, talk to the team that let him go.
I know, that's bad news. I saw Pizzola put out my fake trade. He theorized about my fake trade on Twitter that I threw out last week. The Texans get their pick back plus Tua for Deshaun Watson.
Well, the Jets in theory could do the same thing. I mean,
they
don't exactly have...
No, I've already heard that Fields is the greatest quarterback of all time.
They don't exactly have the level of Dolphin capital, but they have enough where they do. They can make it up easy. They're missing. Yeah, no. The Jets could do it too.
Yeah, send Darnold in the second pick for Watson.
There are people that I do sometimes respect their opinion that do believe it's a real option in Houston. The fans would lose their mind though, but it is a real option. It could get them out of some cap hell and replenish the draft picks, but I don't know, man.
I wouldn't do it if I was Houston.
He's
I think
being
that's stupid.
consulted on the coach. He's literally being brought in to help pick the coach.
Houston's stupid. The Texans are a stupid organization. You know
Aren't
what,
they
Tim?
being run by a priest right now or something?
Yeah, some weird expatriate chaplain runs the Texans.
Yeah, like a priest or something. Yeah,
It's an amazing, really long-winded ESPN article, but I read it, and it's fascinating and creepy what's going on inside the Texans organization.
Tim, I apologize earlier for saying that I hope that Hugh Jackson is the coach of the Jets. I hope Bill O'Brien is the coach of the Jets.
I hope Anthony Lynn
that's
is.
another very sweet thing for you to say.
Oh my God! Imagine
And
how
his
great
wife
that
could
would
get
be.
her job back at the New York TV station.
Bill O'Brien's wife?
No, Anthony Lynn.
Oh.
And he gets to be the coach of the Jets.
You taking the Ravens or the Titans?
This is the game that's not on the teaser because I go back and forth. I'm going to go with the Ravens only because I think Lamar is going to be able to throw those deep passes that he hasn't thrown the last couple of years. I think he's going to play a little more loose than he's played the last couple of years. This game's not at home; it's in Nashville. They're on the road. They've been playing better ball ever since that weird game that was canceled on Thanksgiving. They haven't lost, including a great primetime game against the Browns. They're playing better ball. The Titans were terrible against the Packers. Could barely hold it together against the Texans. I don't know. I feel like that we've seen the Titans' best football. The Ravens, kind of like Tampa in the NFC, the Ravens are like cresting at the right time. Feel the same way about Baltimore. I'm going to play Baltimore here.
Geoff, do you think that the Titans are a bad team?
No.
Then why would Baltimore beat them?
Well,
because Baltimore
doesn't beat good teams.
Oh.
Baltimore's looked so great since they lost to the Steelers after the COVID. They ran train over the Cowboys, the Browns, the Jags, and the Giants.
Tennessee's flawed
Browns,
though. If Lamar can throw accurately and get them over the top, I don't know. I'm betting on the team that lost the playoff game last year to win this game. I don't like where the location is.
What do you think the Ravens' best win this year is?
I don't know, but someone around
Browns game on Monday night.
So the Browns are the best team that Baltimore has beat.
Someone around New Year's.
They beat the Colts 24-10, and they beat Washington. Those are probably the three best wins.
Someone around
and
New
they blew
Year's
out Cleveland week 1.
Put out a tweet saying, "What's the worst bet you made in 2020?" And I'm sure you could take a consortium
of find some golfers,
a Finau or Fowler bets I made, but those are against 140 guys at plus money, so. Those are expected to lose the second you walk off the lot with them and hit submit. The worst bet I think I made in 2020 was Baltimore against Kansas City in that Monday nighter this year. Yeah. And I think Kansas City stopped trying after that game, just knowing, okay, we just realized again we're as good as we were last year and we can do whatever we want.
Put it on cruise control. Bears and Saints.
Boring.
-10 is the line. 47.5 is the over-under. I will be taking New Orleans -10. The big thing, and I think I said it 6 weeks ago when everyone was real down on the Saints for a while? You know what's looked really good and might be the best in the league at this point? The Saints defense. It's fucking incredible.
That little wiener's going to get interviews.
Oh, he should.
Dennis Allen. He looks like my friend who we call Little Hot Dog. He's a doppelganger of my friend, and we call my friend a little wiener. So
critical of New Orleans, and I still think they have problems. And,
you can't wait for Tampa to train them next week. But
I think Tampa
happening.
will beat them next week. But let's face the matter squarely. I'm glad for Saints fans that they get off the mats in the playoffs with a big win. They can't.
Oh my God, Tim!
They can't.
Tim, the third year in a row you've said they can't lose, and they've lost all the other games.
They can't lose to Mitch Trubisky. They can't. And this is like the fourth year now because there was the game against the Vikings. Then there was the Rams game. Then there was the other Vikings game. And now this. But not this time. They are not going to lose at the Dome, at home, in the playoffs against Mitchell Trubisky, who cannot play, and a Bears team that does oftentimes struggle to score. Kamara should be back. The Saints should be at full strength. I absolutely adore New Orleans here. Okay. Adore. Tease them down. Make them the central part of all your teasers and all your parlays. They can't lose this game. They can lose other games, but the Bears are by far the worst team in the playoffs. They're not terrible. They're a bad team. The Saints are a very good team. I don't think they're laying enough. I think this game ought to be 14, but it's the playoffs, so they're not going to give you 14. You have to only take 10. Because they would just anyway. Love New Orleans here. Saints fans, you get a playoff win. I feel good for you. It's going to go badly, I think, next week or the week after, but this week relish it because you're going to get your W.
I'm scared for them, but I agree with Tim.
I agree with him too, but Tim should watch his back if the Saints lose this game. So Saints fans might be mad enough at him and the curse at this point, year after year after year, that they might just come and murder him.
Tim better not just walk down Bourbon Street. Someone's gonna knock him out with a bottle.
Someone did. Someone did ask me on Twitter earlier today that if Tim is actually the most dangerous man in the world because he can just kill people with words. He kills the Saints season every single year with just words.
Sean Connery, R.I.P.
Control X guy, R.I.P.
Wasn't there another Bond that he killed?
He killed Roger Moore years back. He also killed that other guy, John B. Anderson.
He killed John.
Just
Didn't do any of those things.
Just does it with words. So round in New Orleans for us. The coin is taking Chicago, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. Oh, I did want to say about the Kamara thing. Did they intentionally put this game on Sunday so he could play, or is that just the way that it fell?
The Saints and Bears were always going to get the marquee time slot, and this is the marquee time slot. The late afternoon Sunday time slot, America's game of the week time. They were
the marquee time slot is actually the Sunday night game. It's just they're not.
Isn't it always Sunday afternoon? Isn't that always the biggest NFL?
You mean like ratings wise?
It is both.
There's no game that compares on a weekly basis to Sunday Night Football. It's
No,
not
it is.
close. It's the highest watched TV show there is.
100%. But the league loves that 4:00 Sunday. It's kind of like, Sunday's considered a lazy day.
It's
People
a
are
very
home.
highly rated game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not.
People
but
are
Sunday
home.
night is a different
Sunday
beast.
at dinner. It's like that same time big golf tournaments are ending. Like we want like you at dinner with the game on, sort of.
It's the Dallas Cowboys slot. That's how I think.
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's
it's the
fair.
NFC East slot.
And you can even see that like CBS basically boxes out. They'll take some like nice games at some points during the year, but if like it's a marquee matchup, they're just like
concede.
Chargers,
Chargers, Atlanta,
Arizona.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Get in there.
100%. Gotta say though, I loved my Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, and then this week I got someone else who's like low pro.
We used to call Archuleta Leatherface.
The D teams are so much better than the B announced teams.
Oh, I agree.
Like the James Lofton, Mark Schlereth are fucking horrendous
Lofton is bad,
and painful, but your Archuletas and your who did
Chris
I get
Meyer?
last week? It was just great.
Oh no, Chris Meyer's like the F team. He gets like the two worst teams.
The B crews are the worst. They're the worst. They're like seniority garbage. I don't know what we're talking
People
about. I got
liked
nothing
Boomer
to
this
say.
week. I thought Boomer was awful.
You mean Boomer Issei?
Did you see?
I thought he
Pat
was
wouldn't
awful.
care, but Boomer took it from Canada because he made a CFL joke.
Well, that's not what bothered me. I just felt like he had no
exactly.
energy.
Oh, you mean the guy from the CFL is having trouble against Aaron Donald?
Big shocker.
Really?
Shocker.
I just thought he had no. I just
like,
thought he had no energy.
Low energy Boomer.
Low
Well,
energy
like, Romo was
Boomer.
in there, like
Low energy
no, but he-
Boomer says very mean things about Canada. Sad.
But he replaces Romo, who's like a modern day Madden, with like some jumping around the booth with
You know
excitement.
who else pissed off Canada a couple weeks ago?
Who cares?
When Collinsworth said he didn't know
That
he didn't
Niagara
know
Falls
Toronto
that close
was
to
like
Toronto.
Niagara Falls. He didn't know Toronto was like next door when they were in Buffalo for a Thursday nighter.
Not shocking.
Yeah, I guess people were just like, "Oh no, he didn't."
You know who knows that stuff? Canadians.
Sorry, maybe it was he didn't know Niagara Falls was so close to Buffalo. I don't know, but it was something triggered Canada Twitter.
He probably got like caught on Whirlpool Lane, Tim. And he just went around in circles for hours.
There's just not that's the only street. In Niagara
only
Falls,
street,
New York.
yeah.
It's
I
unbelievable.
hate that
Paul?
fucking town.
I think the thing that triggered people, and it's ridiculous, but I think there's a tower, I guess, in Niagara Falls,
Like a lookout
and he called
tower.
it the CN Tower, but it's not the CN Tower.
It's like a viewing tower. You go up a little,
Yeah.
get an aerial view
Great.
of this shit.
Let me
I
throw
mean,
it out
yeah,
here.
totally.
As a Canadian, I don't care.
No rational
It's
people
such a
got mad.
gross place, too.
Niagara Canadian side, very nice. Very classy.
kinda really
Many
like
people
that.
say, Jeff,
Outside
very
of
classy.
the Sundowner, like Niagara is useless.
There's a lot of
No,
nice
Niagara,
vineyards.
Canada's a lot of fun. There's lots of like cool restaurants. There's a Ripley's Museum, the Skylon Tower.
It's
is
literally
nice to go in.
disgusting. It's these
It's a tourist
fucking
trap.
trap
Like
museums.
everything that's in a
and like
touristy
fudge
place
shops,
is there.
and
But
it's
it
like
knows
3
what it is.
blocks of like
But you
fudge
got
shops.
casinos.
Yeah, there's a casino.
Knows
and
what it is.
when we've sort of, we have a lot of friends that got married and we like did Vegas. We're not doing Vegas again because it's expensive and whatever. Montreal, we love Montreal, but so we just want to do like a nighter and a half.
Yeah, you can drive there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we drive there in like an hour, and it's casino and Sundowner, and
I would go to like a
Niagara
vineyard and just
Falls.
get wine boozed all day.
Yeah, I mean Niagara Falls is to Toronto.
good golf,
what Atlantic
actually, in
City is
Niagara,
to
too.
New York City.
That what is?
Niagara Falls is to Toronto what Atlantic City is to New York City.
It's true. And when in daytime, you see how dumpy it is.
No,
too.
well, no. I think I'm the only person here who's been to both. Have you guys been to Atlantic City? Don't
I have
ever go to Atlantic City. It is a
dump, yeah.
fucking dump.
It looks it.
Even Boardwalk and Park Place?
I don't know if it's dangerous or not, but it seems dangerous when you're walking around. Is the way that I would kind of describe it. It just seems very seedy. Like the way that Vegas is portrayed in movies in like the late 60s and 70s, like a seedy place, like gangsters around, or you might like get shanked, or, like if you were in Vegas right now, there's no chance of like a security guard like coming and hauling you out back and like beating you up. They're all owned by like fucking corporations. Yeah. It's probably the exact same thing in Atlantic City, but it's so like old and run down. It feels like that could happen.
Yeah. And also Vegas is at the point, like if something happened to a tourist,
they would
be like an FBI like would be brought in, because it is the lifeblood of you come here and we will keep you like safe.
Yeah.
Essentially, that is our
Please
lifeblood.
come, lose all your money.
Yeah. Can't wait to go back. I think I'm going back in October. Raiders, schedule that game.
I will.
Let's go.
And if you do go to Niagara, as Tim and I can test, if you are a smoker, you might want to go to the American side and go to Seneca Casino instead of like the real fancy ones on the Canadian side. You just hack darts in there all day. Can't do that on the Canadian side.
That's true. Yeah, Niagara Falls, New York is nothing compared to Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Cleveland and Pittsburgh. What is going on with Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh's favored by 6 right now at DraftKings Sportsbook as we record this. I don't know what this ends up going to. 47 is the over-under. So here's what we know as of this filming. Stefanski, he's out. He's not coaching. He's got the COVIDs. Kadarrell Hodge is out, who actually played really well for them last week. He was an important part of their offense in the passing game. He's been good. He's basically been better than Rashard Higgins has been when he's been playing, but he got hurt. Now he's on the COVID list, or he has COVID. Their the left guard also has COVID, and they've put like 10 guys on the COVID list. And Tim, you've told me that as long as they don't test positive, they can play in this game. Like Jarvis Landry's on that list.
People who don't test positive, as I understand it, and contract testing is done, they can come off the list and play. It's people who have contracted the virus that at least 10 days they cannot play. That's how I understand the rules.
Now, because this happened on a Tuesday, when did the Latavius Murray, because the Saints lost all their running backs last week. Is that because that happened on like a Thursday or something?
Yeah, it feels like that happened later. We would have talked about that on the show in some depth had it happened on a Tuesday. So
true.
I think it happened probably on a Thursday. Yeah, it's probably fair to surmise.
Mike Evans not practicing, by the way.
Why should he? He should not take a snap till game time. That would be foolish.
Stefan Diggs, limited. Cole Beasley, not practicing. Dolphins GM, Tua is our starter. Sure.
I like hearing that. No, they're pretty much saying.
Me too.
I don't know.
I'd like to see the Jets win a couple of games next year.
I don't know if they're drumming up, like call us for the draft pick, but yeah, they are pretty much trying to send the bat signal out to football fan, to other teams.
We're good.
We drafted this guy 5th. We didn't see everything we wanted to see, but we didn't see anything to make us think we need to redo.
I know some Dolphins fans.
Full stop on Tua. Let's get back to Cleveland and Pittsburgh. We can do 2 after.
Okay, yeah, I want Paul's take on him because he watched like 56 dropbacks on the weekend.
Paul just said he's trash.
Oh, okay,
that was the review on Tua. Coin is going with Pittsburgh.
This could be my super lock.
Are you that?
Tease the Browns down. Tease the Steelers down.
I am that confident. I think everything is working against Pittsburgh, against the Browns. And as much as it's easy to make, it's unfair to maybe pick on Wolford making his first playoff start. The stat literally screams, sorry, Uncle Baker. Like versus this Pittsburgh D, if they're healthy and that Cleveland O-line's in trouble. Cleveland deserved to make the playoffs and not have to run into their like big brother. Like maybe get some wind under their sails. So I hate the situation for Cleveland.
Here's my reasoning behind me taking the points with Cleveland.
Everyone likes Pittsburgh.
Everyone likes Pittsburgh, and when you lose money when Tim curses New Orleans and Chicago ends up winning that game and everyone loses money, the last game of the day, they're going to chase all their money with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this game is not staying at 6, especially if there's more COVID news, no head coach. The Steelers are good, but they're not that good. They could win by 4, and it might not even be a close game. Like these are 2 teams. All Cleveland's going to do is put its head down and run the ball the entire game. And Pittsburgh is just going to try to play some good defense and stay ahead by a touchdown the entire time. Like, would you be shocked if this game broke 7 points? Like, it got through the 7-point barrier at some point? Like,
Only if a big name guy gets pulled out.
Yeah, JJ
That'd
Watt
be the only
strip
way.
sack because he sacks like 2.5 a game, and Baker's
he
bad
means
under
says the
pressure.
No,
line
I mean
gets-
the line. The line's at 6 right now.
Oh, does it get to 7?
Can you see it going?
Yeah.
Because if it gets through 7, it's all bets are off.
So you just
Yeah,
made
like
a
Nick
great.
Chubb can't play because of COVID-19, for example. That type of thing is the sort of thing that could drive it through 7.
You just made a great point.
6.5,
Pat,
I'm
And
seeing
honestly,
now.
for a betting show was something I should have thought of beforehand. This is a 6-game NFL slate. 4 games, 6 games, same shit. These games are the action the NFL takes on these playoff games is to the moon. These games are every NFL game, whether it be week 1 through 17, they're capped pretty hardcore. These games are capped hardcore with an asterisk, like by these houses. And yeah, I would be afraid with the public pounding Pittsburgh going into that game with people trying to recoup their playoff L's. But I'm picking Pittsburgh.
I mean, the world is going to have a Saints Steelers parlay
Teaser.
in the same way that they're going to have
Teaser.
a Buccaneers. Teasers. In the same way they're going to have a Buccaneers and Bills teaser.
Go make that Buccaneers one. I think that one gets spoiled.
It
I guess the teaser's fine, yeah. The Washington-Tampa teaser, I think, is safe on either side.
I think Washington. I'm betting Washington money line. I'll play the 8.5, but I'll bet the plus 350 as well.
Would the league let Brady lose? Like, wouldn't they make a rule? Home Tampa Super Bowl.
Well, they
COVID
let Brady
year.
lose in the first round last year, if I remember correctly.
You're still are you gonna like tweet the anniversary of that next week or this week or something?
See, this is what I mean when I say you're a whiner and you're a sad person. This is exactly what I'm pointing to. Except
I have rewatched the highlights of that game, no lie, 25
You're
times.
so
last year.
weird.
It makes me so happy to know that his last pass as a
Is it
Patriot
like saved on your
was an
PVR?
was an interception touchdown.
Is it-
No, one of the great things the NFL does is they put out a very well curated highlight pack
It's
for
true, they
every
do.
single game that's played.
They do?
It's
They
like
do.
very top notch.
I'm shocked you know how to find it. to be
Yeah, yeah.
honest,
You just
but they
type
do.
in Patriots Titans enter into the YouTube and boom, there it
He,
is.
just, he goes to ask Jeeves, where can I find the clip of this game?
Anyway, they do a great job with a lot of these games, particularly the last 3 or 4 years. I've watched those highlights. If there's 1 million views, I've got to be like 400,000 of them because it just brings me such joy to see them fall flat on their face for the last time, and to see them go 7-9 this year. What a pity! It's too bad that there wasn't an 18th game so they could go 7-10.
Like your Super Lock record.
They didn't
Yeah,
accomplish enough. They didn't accomplish enough, eh? You're like victory lapping this.
Yeah, 6 Super Bowls. They suck.
It's
I
over.
always knew it was going to happen, and
Well,
I
you-
always said
you
I
always
would
knew it
relish
was-
it when it did.
Yeah, but it just makes you seem pathetic.
I don't care. It brings me such joy. to see
Imagine
them at
rooting for a
7-9.
team and living the life of Tim, being so sad that this is what brings you happiness.
Will this be me in like 14 years when the Chiefs went to like 8 Super Bowls?
Yeah.
And Mahomes is now playing for Tampa, and I am like, like relishing them going 8-8 and missing.
Yeah.
the
What a bunch
playoffs.
of losers. Not like the Chargers.
Yeah, exactly.
And all those lifelong Patriots fans. There was a great people who don't have Boston cable would not have seen this. But after the Sunday night game, NBC went to its local package and they were doing interviews with like fans around Boston
Oh, they're
about the
disgusting.
Patriots.
Yeah.
And several of them are like, well, I kind of checked out on this year because they didn't do very well to start. It's like, of course, every single one of you Boston fans are bandwagoners. You were like that with the Red Sox. You're like that with the Patriots. You are, theirs is a fandom of plenty. Of the full stomach.
I assume they're
when
loyal.
They're going great.
to be
They're the
honest.
great fans. As soon as the tough get going, the people run away from them. That's how Boston fans happen to be. They've been spoiled, which is why they have so many fans. But when the rubber meets the road, a lot of them just shrug their shoulders and say, "Oh well, it doesn't really matter." And I wasn't really into this year anyway. Couldn't happen to a nicer.
Tim will
fan
tell
base.
you that kid who was.
I would actually highly disagree. The actual
They're loyal,
Boston
I think.
people aren't
They're
the same.
loyal.
The Patriots just built up such a national following of fans because they were good. That those people are all gone. The actual Boston people, they fucking live and die for this shit.
And I think just like we make fun of like insane people in every fan base, like myself or Tim reading the Reddit, the Patriot fans that like some mainstream media guys like to rant on that are like dissing Bill Belichick. Those are like the insane people.
Yeah, they're the Tim of Boston.
Yeah, they're like I don't believe
Yeah, no, of
98%
course there's a
of
little
Patriot fans are insulting or want anything gone with Belichick. They're like fully self-aware of what happened this year. Yeah, and the crazies that are like clickbaited sound bites I think are just
Of course.
that.
I assume that the Patriots fandom on a national scale and like the bandwagon people who live, I don't know, are like very casual football fans and jumped on the Patriots because they were good for 15 years is probably a lot akin to how you ended up with so many like quote unquote 49ers fans throughout the 80s and early 90s.
100%. But Tim is telling you that famous like, I don't know if he's not famous, but there's like a famous meme of some like 12-year-old kid at a sign with a parade saying this is my like 11th parade, and it's like Celtics, Patriots.
Yeah, it's just him being
Red
jealous
Sox.
again.
Tim will tell you that kid who's like 17 now doesn't even watch sports anymore. Doesn't even watch sports.
I guarantee you he's far more interested in what the Celtics are up to by October than the Patriots, because the Patriots are having a down year.
But I think he's
I don't
still
know.
watching the games for 4 hours on Sunday.
Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I think Boston fan sports outside of like them, because there's always some true believers. No one disputes that. People who live and born and will die in Boston or the area. Of course, there's always those people. But
they
I'm
don't
saying
need to like sweat the
as a
small
general
stuff like
rule-
us losers.
The Red Sox didn't win for 100 years selling out games every single time.
As a general rule, Boston sports fans, like I said, are the sports fan of the full stomach. Are there when the going is good.
So they're
But
like Braves
when the-
fans in the 90s, you're saying?
I don't believe that to be true, by the way.
I kind of disagree. I see them as a loyal group. They've just had a lot of success.
Paul.
Are New Jersey sports fans like all whiners, or is it just Tim and the players on the Giants?
I don't have to respond to that.
That'll do it. Pat Mayo Experience. Shortest show of the year.
6 games.
Well, we only had 6 games.
That usually doesn't stop us. We got a majors preview coming out tomorrow, the three of us. We got some nice future bets in there. 250 to 1 is my longest shot one. That'll be a fun
So
one.
do you like? Who do you think wins the Super Bowl? It's just KC versus the field.
I have KC versus New Orleans, I think was my preseason pick. Not exciting by any means. I mean, that is a fun that's a fun clash of teams right now, just with New Orleans defense playing so good. I think if I had to pick it right now, like who do you think poses the quick answer is the Bills. To who poses the biggest threat to Kansas City in the postseason?
The Packers too, though, maybe.
No, I mean in the AFC. Is it the Bills? Because I think the Ravens might actually be the answer. I think they are the best equipped team to play. It's going to be hard to play KC in a 3-point game. And I feel like Baltimore...
I'll put my cards on the table here. If the Colts win, they get the Chiefs next week.
Oh, boy.
If the Colts have found the magic formula to beat the Bills, the Colts can absolutely beat the Chiefs as well.
You stay. If the Colts win this game, you stay the fuck away from them.
I don't know
He's
about
already
that.
been
If they
on
have
them,
figured-
right?
Yeah, but now he's off them.
I'm just saying, if the Colts figure out how to win this game, they will have done it with the exact right formula of squeezing and compressing the game, running the ball very effectively, playing good defense. That could be an effective strategy against the Chiefs. I don't think anybody's beating the Chiefs. Like I said, I picked Chiefs Bucks in August or whatever. I'm
And you
not
picked the Bucks.
deviating from that course.
You picked the Bucks to beat them.
Yeah, but I picked Chiefs Bucks in the Super Bowl, and I'm not deviating off that course with Tampa winning the Super Bowl over Kansas City. I'm sticking with it.
Who do you like in the NFC? Like, just not you, Tim. We know you like Tampa. Who do you like?
Packers and the Saints. Maybe it's a chalk thing. I'm so impressed by the Packers, and with that Saints defense, I'm excited to see where they get to this postseason, and hopefully they don't get snake bitten.
I weirdly think Seattle might win the NFC.
You didn't even pick them.
Yet you just picked the Rams to win, and
I did not pick the Rams to win this game.
Seattle.
I guess pick them to cover.
I picked them to cover 4 points.
I agree. If Seattle gets healthy, the O-line gets healthy, Jamal Adams comes back, I could see it.
I don't know why I feel this way. I feel like the Packers are a house of cards.
Well, I thought I'm not going there, but sure, kind of does, but they make it all
That game
work,
against
man.
Tampa still sticks in my brain.
Yeah, of course
I can't
it
get
does.
that one.
It just, I don't know. There's something about Russell Wilson. Just,
I've heard about him.
If you want to believe in the theory that Rodgers played so well this year because he was inspired because they drafted Jordan Love, which seems like absolute horseshit, then you're not going to be in. Russell Wilson's not going to be inspired that he was having a great year. They changed their offensive philosophy, and he's going to get 0 MVP votes again. Has still never received an MVP vote in his life.
He doesn't deserve one this year, though.
You don't think that will fire him up?
Maybe it does.
I mean, for a team that has basically had a shitty defense for 13 weeks, Russell Wilson had a very good season. He's not the MVP. I'm not saying that.
No, he had a very good season.
No one is
Look,
debating how
look at those
amazing
quarterbacks.
Russell Wilson is.
Look at those quarterbacks in the NFC.
It seems like they've been forgotten in the NFC.
You have Rodgers, you have Brady, you have Breeze, you have Wilson. All Super Bowl champion quarterbacks, any of whom, if they
So
play
like
their
in the
best
golf,
football,
like we talk
easily
about
make the Super Bowl.
forgotten elite.
It'd be like John Rahm.
Like
John-
the forgotten elite, the elite that is drifted. I guess it's Seattle. What are their odds to win the Super Bowl? You could talk me into anything.
See, I
care.
don't think that they can beat the Chiefs is the problem.
And even
They'd
when
be
they
better
get
to
to the
bet
Super Bowl
progress-
and are touchdown underdogs, it's hard to hedge
You
a
like
money
Seattle,
line.
though, to win the Super Bowl. I bet you it's better to bet them progressively. Bet them to their money line this week, money line in the division.
I would not bet them to win the Super Bowl.
Just
I'd
the
bet them.
NFC
I'd
then?
bet them to win the NFC. I want to see what their odds are though before I say anything.
Give me both numbers.
Odds to win the conference. You know the Chiefs are -110 to win the AFC.
Well, they're plus 200 to win the Super Bowl.
Well, they're the only team with a bye. That's such a huge
but
advantage.
-110 is like a good number for the Chiefs. I feel
they're plus 200. I saw to win the Super
like
Bowl.
if you parlayed both their money lines together next week and the week after. I mean, obviously you have to presume that they win. It would be worse than -110.
If all the favorites
have to
win
think
next
so.
week,
Seattle's 5-1 to win the NFC,
if all the
and the
favorites,
Saints are going to lose to Chicago this week after Tim cursed them.
Tim, if all the favorites win next week, it's KC Baltimore.
If all the favorites win, then yes, it would be KC Baltimore. KC being the only, or Baltimore being the only road team. Yeah, and then it would be Buffalo, Pittsburgh. Then the other side, if all the favorites win, it's Tampa, Green Bay, and Seattle.
And the Colts are the
New
last.
Orleans.
Oh man, let's get Dad at Arrowhead without Tim's support though.
But he'll have the support because they figured out the master plan.
Whoever makes the Super Bowl better call the Colts for that plan.
To win the Super Bowl right now, Chiefs plus 220, Packers plus 450, Bills 7-1, Saints 750. I think this. You think the Saints' offense is good enough to give the Chiefs problems?
Yes,
We
I
saw
do.
it 2 weeks ago.
I
It never was a close
do.
game.
I do. There's enough there.
Oh yeah, they did play 2 weeks ago.
It was in the dome, but yeah.
Just looking down here, no respect for the Steelers.
To win it all?
Yeah, 22-1 to win the Super Bowl.
That seems
Where are the
unreasonably
Ravens?
low. Given that we
10,
kind of think they're
11?
going to, we think that the Steelers are going to cruise past Pittsburgh this week or the Browns this week, and then against Buffalo. I mean, who knows? I mean that'd
That'd be a good game.
I think that's
It would
where
be.
Buffalo starts
22-1
seeing
seems too low.
some pressure problems.
when
When Buffalo is favored by like 6.5 points over Pittsburgh in a playoff game, I feel like that gets a bit dicey.
See,
Well,
Baltimore's
they're
probably
favored by
like
6.5
12.
over the Colts. They
Baltimore-
won't be favored by 6.5 over Pittsburgh.
Depends on what happens this week. It's all about perception. If they beat Indy, I think they're going to rout Indy. I think it's going to be like 40-10.
That's how the Bills do it.
And if Pittsburgh wins by like 3 over COVID Browns, then the perception changes.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Yeah, Seahawks are 12-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Baltimore.
Baltimore to win the Super Bowl?
See, they have they're
Baltimore-
half of Pittsburgh, but they're
No,
in a,
it's not even half of Pittsburgh. They're 9-1.
and
they're almost
Pittsburgh's
a
a
third.
6-point favorite in what feels like a much more winnable way to round 2.
I agree. I think that's that. If you're betting the Ravens,
Baltimore
at
was
9,
like 14 last week. People are on them.
Of course, I get why people are on them. Like,
Last year swagger, this year kind of being forgotten.
but I
Great
just
coach.
told you the 4 teams they just beat to get into the playoffs.
know, I guess.
Dog shit teams.
Dog shit.
It's just like David Montgomery when people draft him like 3rd overall in fantasy last year, and it turns out he doesn't play Houston, Green Bay, and Jacksonville every week. Tough story. What's the to win conference? Steelers are 10-1 to win the AFC.
I think that's a very fair number.
Rather
I
bet
mean,
them
like,
to win the Super Bowl because once they bet KC, it's like a
Yeah.
pick 'em versus anybody.
Versus anyone, yeah.
Like,
Do you want to make that bet? 22-1 Steelers? I'm going to make it. I don't think that it's going to win, but because they have to beat Kansas City, and I don't think the Kansas City loses, obviously. But I think they can
What's Tampa's number? I didn't. We didn't hear
it. Tampa was like 5-1 or something.
Tampa's a liability. The books can't give a number there.
Yeah,
because
too many people bet
they're a
them
big
already.
favorite, and they have
Sorry.
so much preseason liability on Tampa. The sports books
To win this, let's see here. To win the NFC,
If
they are
Tampa-
4-1. To win the Super Bowl, they are. Where the hell is Tampa Bay here to win the Super Bowl? 9-1.
If Tampa made
those
the
odds are too
Super
short. Those
Pat,
odds are
if
too
Tampa made the Super Bowl, would Vegas's preseason futures liability affect the game odd?
I don't think so because so much action is.
Yeah,
on the Super
you're
Bowl.
right. Yeah.
And
Yeah, if they hung a bad number in the Super Bowl, it would just get pounded to death.
And you have to think, because someone will come in and bet $3 million on one side if the line is bad. And the books in Vegas and like even DraftKings Sportsbook and wherever, their major liability with Tampa futures, which were short anyway, are like people with $100 bets on it.
You're right. And it's also that they could get in a spot where Tampa's a favorite in the Super Bowl. I don't know against who, because you assume it'd be Kansas City and they wouldn't be a favorite. But Tampa in the Super Bowl, you have your future ticket. Let's say they're like a 6-point favorite. You could play the other side in the Super Bowl plus 6.
Steelers, 22-1, $50.
I'll do it with you.
Let's have some fun.
I got it here. I'll do it myself.
Remind me to hedge that if they somehow make the Super Bowl.
Well, sure, you might like the matchup, but
I might. That's
it
true.
makes so much more sense than betting the AFC, because once they beat the Chiefs, it feels like it's a 3-1 proposition.
Yeah, it's
Probably shorter than 3. 3-1 is probably being very conservative.
And again, it's not if their defense can.
Don't message me, Chiefs fan. You think Pittsburgh's gonna beat us?
I don't.
Don't. I don't.
I do think that they're going to beat Cleveland. I think they'd be a handful for Buffalo. Like I don't even think that Buffalo deserves to be favored in that game. And if he was going to give me a straight up pick, it would be Buffalo. But I could see Buffalo blowing it.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that's been said here. Although I do think the only problem is I think that they're not a great matchup for Kansas City. That's all.
I don't either. But weird shit happens.
It does, and the Chiefs have been playing dangerously for 2 months, and
Getting a
maybe
ceiling
eventually
game from
one of those
Pittsburgh?
stupid games catches.
versus the Chiefs.
Pittsburgh has enough of a vertical offense that I feel like they could score with the Chiefs potentially. It just depends on how that defense plays.
Yeah, the one
just throwing this out here. Do the Chiefs remind you at all of that Packers team that got bounced by the Giants in the playoffs after going 15-1? At any point?
No, because they already had a Super Bowl. That Packers team
They
had
were the
won the
defending
Super
champions.
Bowl.
Yeah,
The Packers were the defending
Yeah,
champions.
the Packers were the defending champions.
Much
They
like
won-
the Chiefs.
That was
Yeah,
in
the Packers
2011.
came off winning the Super Bowl. Yep.
Packers won in
That's right.
2010, and they went 15-1 the next year and lost to the Giants after the bye. And I just vividly remember that.
I'm
playoffs.
talking about a different game then.
I'm vividly remembering that playoffs only because there's no possible chance the Packers could lose the Super Bowl. They got bounced in the first game they played.
I'm thinking about the NFC title game versus the Giants.
That was 07 when they were like they
That was
weren't
like the
I don't
cough,
know.
like red face,
Yeah,
freezing
but
cold.
Favre was playing in that game, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
that was Favre's.
Because the
that was
Chargers
Favre's
played the Patriots
last
that
game.
morning, and I thought I woke
Yeah,
up
that
that
was
day.
Favre's last game
I
in Green
woke
Bay.
up that day, Pat, thinking I was going to go to the Super Bowl to play Eli, Phillip versus Eli, and we made all our kicks in LT Darth Vader, and we've never been close since.
As I pointed out, I talked to Raza about this on the golf show, and the same sort of thing happens. Like, we looked at the golf rankings from the past 4 years, the top 10 world golf rankings. And it's just astonishing to see some of the names that finished the year inside the top 10. Like, there are things that happen that you're just not going to see coming. So if you can get one at 22, I like Pittsburgh better than I like the Browns, better than I like the Bears or Washington or any of the other teams that are priced like in their region. It seems like they're an afterthought. But I think that they're closer to the Baltimores and the Buffaloes and the Saints of the world.
What are the Titans? They got to be the same length of odds.
No, they're not, actually.
No,
It's
because
not
they're
longer,
shorter
given
than
that they're
Baltimore.
They're longer. They're 30-1.
Yeah.
But I think that the Steelers, because of their defense and the
That's
potential
longer
that they
than their
could play,
preseason odds, the Titans.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
I just don't think that the Titans can beat the Chiefs. I can see a world where the Steelers do.
Okay.
It's probably like a 1 in 10 shot or even longer, but I can still see that happening.
What's funny is, yeah, I guess, because they'll just throw 60 passes, and there's no way. Even though you're like, they have Derrick Henry. Any team with Derrick Henry would technically have the recipe to slow down a big team.
Kind of, but it reminds me of that. Remember that? I think it was a Monday Night Football game, Dolphins versus Colts, and the Dolphins possessed the ball for like 85% of the game against Peyton Manning, and they won. And the Colts
That was like
like
a
30.
week. Yeah.
Like if you could,
game in 2009, if memory serves.
yeah, if you just score on one play every time, it doesn't really matter. But the advantage where Pittsburgh would have, and we always see this come playoff time, and it's where the Saints have a massive advantage over every team in the NFC. There's going to be nary a game that Pittsburgh plays where they don't have the best O and D line.
That's how you win in winter.
How did the Giants get there and win Super Bowls? By having that exact same formula. If Washington's offensive line was better, you could make the case for them too. They'll just be pesky and they'll be shitty to play, even if they're very beatable. Anyway, Tim, can you recap your free money teaser for the wild card round?
I would be delighted to. Okay, so it's a 5-team wild card tease. A super wild card tease is we're required by law to call this weekend now. Tampa, we're teasing the Buccaneers down, the Steelers down, the Saints down, the Rams up, and the Bills down, and that gets you 4-1 on your money.
You picked 5 of 6 favorites against the spread this week. Do you think, just if I told you before we started the show, do you think that 5 of 6 favorites cover? Would you say yes or no?
I would have said probably no. But, it is what it is. I mean, I got to pick the way I think the game's going to go.
I understand that. But just looking at it, like taking a step back and just hearing that.
You never like that. Like the UFC guys. Like, oh my God, my picks are all favorites. That's
something weird is happening.
Like, oh no, that can't work out.
But I do have the one dog. At one point I had all favorites, and I do have the dog with the Rams. So I don't know.
Maybe the Rams to win the Super Bowl. They're like 60-1 or something. Goof comes back. He's all healthy. He's good to go. I'm not buying. Anyway, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. I want to thank Geoff, and I want to thank Paul, and I want to thank the coin, and of course, you got to thank me for putting this all together. Barry Horowitz myself on that one. Unlike Tim Cust.
Tim Cust.
That's not my name.
We got another 3 weeks of this, and we got the major show coming out tomorrow. Then we got to find a way to integrate Tim in more.
We'll figure it out.
By the way, if people subscribe to if they're still listening, they're obviously fans. If you've never subscribed to this show or reviewed this show, if you've never reviewed the show, please go do it right now. The way that I was looking, and I think that the Apple podcast algorithm works, I think there's a chance we could be the #1 fantasy sports podcast after this show comes out. And if people, even if you don't care about golf, go download tomorrow's show too. Think that we could somehow get the footballers scaled back the amount of shows that they're putting out per week.
There it is.
And golf just started
I was
with
wondering
football.
what algo was getting you there.
So they've stopped doing so many
Download,
shows.
Rank, give us the stars, and listen.
And
or
then,
not listen.
and then
Download
delete it,
and comment.
and then go back in and download it again. I'd like to get back to #1. We peak at #2 so often behind the footballers. I love the footballers.
It's okay. Losing to them is okay. That's good company.
Oh no, listen.
And they killed it again last year. I saw the rankings.
Oh yeah, Andy rules, Mike rules, Jason rules. Great dudes too. But I would like to just for one day. I thought we were going to get there. We were trending to get there if the Masters had continued in April. But because it coincided with football season, we did not get there. We got back up to #2 and passed ESPN.
So just quickly, it's a new thing and I'll be hyper into it. When do the coaches usually get hired? It happens before.
Some coaches, within a week. Other coaches, it takes several weeks.
Because Bieniemy and Dabo
different.
could be playing for a while and a lot of wink, nudge, nudging.
Yeah, but if they're going to get hired and that'll already be reported. And
I know, but then you have those stories where it's we have to hire this guy because we can't afford to wait for the coach we want.
Yeah, we need Hugh
Jackson.
Jackson.
His team is playing, so we got to hire this guy because we need to start finding assistants. So so we'll be able to do a show next week, I think.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
I think the openings will be there, especially, Pat, considering that I don't think the Chargers are in a rush to make this decision. Hold on. And they're the only team with a GM. So a lot of these teams without GMs, I think it could actually be slower.
The Jets have a GM. The Jets have a GM.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Jets have a GM.
So 4 of the 6 teams don't have GMs. I think we could do a coach landing spot thing next week, especially as interview calendars, second run of interviews come back and it's clearer.
And I have some the potential free agents that are out there too at all the skill positions.
How Tim will spend his $100 million on 2 guys?
Yeah. It would be the worst 2 guys. Probably re-sign Le'Veon Bell for another 5 years or something. Oh, no, he's still got it. What was I going to say? Better job. One answer. One word answer, the two of you. Detroit or Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah, no, Atlanta to me feels like
one word answer.
Detroit.
Thank you. That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Thank you all for watching and tuning in. Rate, review, smash a like, do all that fun stuff. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be back next Wednesday with more football picks, DraftKings picks for each day of the NFL slates coming out later in the week too. So please tune into that. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!